This young man's name is Leon Cassius. He could never have imagined, even until death, that his enemy of the dragon clan for decades would be a female dragon. Moreover, she even gave birth to him a pair of dragon offspring. All because during his imprisonment, he accidentally triggered a blood curse. But instead of causing Joe Swisher pain, it instead triggered her into heat. What happened next, even AI knows. The noble dragon clan Queen Rose had never before suffered such humiliation. But because the dragon clan always follows the rule of one mate, no matter how angry she was, she could not kill Leon right now to ensure her child had a father. So Rose decided to bring Leon back to her castle as her son-in-law. Ultimately, will our male lead wake up and take revenge on Rose? Or will he decide to betray humanity and become a son-in-law of the Dragon Clan? Let's dive into the main story to find out. Inside the Dragon Clan's silver prison, in the largest cell located at the center, 2 Dragon Clan knights guarded tightly. From this, one can imagine that the prisoner inside has a very complicated identity. The silent space suddenly echoed with the sound of high heels clicking closer. The 2 dragon knights were startled and respectfully bowed their heads to the queen. Both placed their hands over their left chests, slightly bowed to listen to the orders of the young woman in front of them. "You 2 go outside first. I want to talk to him alone." They replied in unison, "Yes, Your Majesty." The one addressed as Your Majesty was a beautiful young woman. Her long platinum hair hung loosely and her matching eyes shimmered with a proud, sharp gleam. She was the silver dragon Queen Rose Weiser. I stepped into the prison and looked at the man shackled with iron chains. She raised her hands and mocked him with a taunting tone. "Great hero of the Dragon Clan, how does it feel to be our prisoner?" The Dragon Clan hero was a young human teenager and a tough fighter. Though in a dangerous situation, he showed no fear. His honest black eyes looked straight at her, then coldly made a request. "Kill me!" White seemed to hear something very interesting. She raised her hand to her cheek, a corner of her mouth curling into a smile she couldn't hold back. "You want me to help you escape?" The Silver Dragon Queen suddenly lifted the prisoner's chin, her tone arrogant and full of contempt as she smiled. "It's not that easy. You're a handsome and tough man after all." Then she didn't finish the sentence, instead using her sharp nails to scratch a line down his cheek and continued. "A few more scars would be even better." Bright red blood dripped down, staining the queen's delicate fingertips. The Dragon Clan hero felt a sharp pain. He clenched his teeth, unable to suppress a groan escaping his throat. She sensed the intense contempt coming from the girl in front of her. He twisted away from her fierce hand and shouted, "Don't try to humiliate me. If you want to kill or cut me, do as you wish. Please be quick about it." But Weiser showed no sign of anger. Her playful rose-pink tongue stuck out to lick the blood off her hand. She chuckled, half-jokingly, and said, "A strong one like you wouldn't end up so miserable if you weren't betrayed by scoundrels. Why not rely on our Silver Dragon Clan instead?" The prisoner showed no hesitation at that offer. He smiled arrogantly as he spoke again. "You deserve to..." The Silver Dragon Queen frowned unhappily. She swung her hands sharply. The force was so strong that even the heavy chains broke. The young Dragon Clan hero was thrown back, crashing into the stone wall behind him. He lay still like a statue. The sharp pain ran down his spine, radiating to his internal organs, which seemed crushed. He painfully coughed up fresh blood. Before he could recover, a foot shot out and kicked him hard in the stomach. The queen's cold, clear voice echoed from above. "A prisoner! How dare you be rude to me?" Rose Weiser crossed her arms over her chest, her angry face stomping on him, her tone even more ruthless and sharp. "Leon Cassius, do you still think you are the hero praised by the world? Still dreaming that ridiculous dream of wiping out the Dragon Clan and making a name for yourself for generations to come?" She tilted her head, smiled at him, but spoke the most contemptuous words. Wake up. You're about to die here, you overestimating failure like an ant." White touched her toe, grinding it hard against his chest as she laughed and spoke. "Who knows, maybe I'm right. Maybe you could share glory and wealth with your descendants." She bent down, staring coldly at that human, saying an interesting hypothesis true, but unfortunately you have no heir. No such day will come. Dragon hero Leon Cassius refuses to submit. He hissed each word stubbornly through clenched teeth. Rose Weiser, don't underestimate humans. Just after she finished speaking, a silver dragon tail wrapped around his neck. Weiser lifted him effortlessly into the air. She was starting to lose patience with him. What a stubborn, talkative brat. The dragon tail tightened its grip on Leon's neck even more. The air in his lungs was suddenly cut off. He painfully clung to her tail. Leon shut his eyes tight in pain and spoke with difficulty. "Queen Rose Weiser, Hearing him call her Your Majesty twice with deep respect, her tense, uncomfortable mood finally eased somewhat as she asked, "What's wrong? Are you about to beg for mercy?" But sadly, Leon Cassius said nothing related to the words beg for mercy. He forced open his eyes and struggled to finish a sentence with pauses. "You've made two mistakes since earlier." The queen suddenly gasped and then heard him continue. "First, you shouldn't be alone with the strongest of the dragon clan who has undergone rigorous training." Second, Rose Weiser pursed her lips and stared at that young human continuing to listen. "Second, you absolutely shouldn't." The dragon hero suddenly opened his eyes wide. His black pupils were covered in blood-red color. A complex, multi-layered magical formation appeared intertwined in those pupils. Leon shouted, "Taste my blood!" At the same time, Weiser's eyes also glowed blood-red. Her face was dazed as if controlled by something. Her two long silver tails relaxed and dropped down. Leon landed lightly on the ground. Meanwhile, Queen Silver Dragon suddenly became inexplicably restless. She clenched her hands tightly. Sweat poured down, soaking wet. Rose Weiser bit her lips, nearly sobbing, thinking it's too hot. Her weak body collapsed. The queen could no longer control her own body. "Why are my body and Weiser's trembling slightly?" Her face suddenly flushed darkly. An unexplained heat flared up from her lower abdomen. What on earth happened? But Leon Cassius didn't notice anything unusual. He simply thought she was in pain and collapsed to her knees. So he let his guard down and moved closer. The queen said, "Soon you will taste a pain that pierces the soul for the rest of your life." Weiser bowed her head without replying. Her tightly pressed lips trembled slightly. Just as Leon moved closer, the queen suddenly lunged at him. Her burning body pressed against his cool skin. Rose Weiser became even more comfortable as she pressed down on him. Her lips pressed tightly, an expression of frustration, as if craving something, staring at him. Leon felt a soft sensation on his body. He suddenly asked confusedly, "What's going on?" Seeing her unusually flushed face, Leon Cassius finally realized the issue. "What's going on?" Is she aroused? As if responding to his suspicion, Weiser suddenly moved forward and kissed him. Leon's eyes widened. Though he knew the girl in his heart was his enemy, he couldn't suppress the embarrassment spreading across his cheeks. The ground-prisoned Silver Dragon clan suddenly fell silent. No more harsh words replaced by ragged, rapid breaths. An hour later, clothes were scattered messily on the ground where the two lay. Enough to know how intense the earlier incident was. I, Rose Weiser LM, opened my eyes. The blood color in my eyes gradually faded. I looked confusedly at my naked body, only now becoming clear-headed after the haze. I hugged my body tightly. I am the queen, not a fool. I understood what had happened between the two of them, then angrily scolded that brat. Weiser angrily swung her tail at him and scolded, "What have you done to me, you little brat?" Leon leaned back against the earth prison, opened his eyes calmly and explained as if nothing had happened. "The blood curse can only be used once in a lifetime. You have tasted my blood. Between us, a soul bond was formed. After I die, the curse will cause you to fall into extreme suffering." Rose Weiser angrily shouted, "Nonsense. If this curse only takes effect after you die, then what was that just now?" The dragon hero could not have expected this to happen. He half closed his cloudy eyes. His tone was calm without any emotion. "This was unintended. I thought the suffering would only happen after I died. But unexpectedly, the side effect made you go into puberty." The queen did not want to hear these words. She bashfully cut in, "Shut up." The atmosphere between them quickly reversed. This time it was Leon's turn to smirk at her. "But as far as I know, your dragon clan follows the rule of one wife, one husband, right?" He was pleased as if he had perfectly made a checkmate move. "After I die, the great queen of the Silver Dragon cannot find a new mate, nor can she have offspring. I can't even explain why the effect of this curse far exceeded my expectations." The queen could not bear this humiliation. She growled, "You," but Leon Cassius did not fear the queen's oppressive aura. He smirked comfortably and said, "What did you just say?" "The great Silver Dragon Queen said I have no offspring. But now you don't have any descendants either." "Oh no, dragon heirs!" Leon hit a sore spot. Weiser became so angry she transformed into a dragon. Her claws lunged at him. "You little brat." Just as the dragon claws were about to reach him, Leon laughed coldly. His eyes gradually lost focus but remained calm. "Want to kill me? This doesn't require your majesty to act personally. I will die very soon." In contrast to Joe Swisher's vibrant, hateful face, Leon Cassius now looked completely drained. His face was blank, without any life. The faint light at the corner of his eyes gradually faded. Yet Leon Cassius stubbornly spoke his final mocking words, filled with hatred and the suffering. I would endure for the rest of my life. This is the curse that humanity myself placed on the earth prison. Suddenly silence fell. The queen coldly dressed herself again. Throughout the whole process, she remained cold and silent, as if deep in thought. Roseweiser crossed her arms and stepped closer to Leon, who lay collapsed on the cold stone floor. She snorted coldly. Just a human who still uses such despicable tricks for revenge. Do I want to die? She raised her hand. A cold light suddenly flashed from her palm. Her eyes were resolute and cold as she said, "Nothing is that easy." Along with that strange light, a silver symbol simultaneously appeared on Leon Cassius's chest. It looked like a sturdy shield made from the silver scales of the silver dragon. No one knew what Leon would face after waking up. A young man lay quietly on the bed. That was Leon Cassius, the former legendary dragon hero. His life had gone through many things. Since he was a child, he had defended his friends from fierce dogs. At age 5, he killed a neighbor's ferocious dog with his bare hands. He was accepted as a disciple by a top dragon hero master. Growing up, he also attended a prestigious academy. At 50, he enrolled in the Empire's Dragon Institute, and within 4 years graduated as the youngest and most talented in history. When he grew up, he also joined in monster hunting. At 55, he began participating in the Dolong battlefield. He killed countless evil dragons, reclaimed territories, and achieved numerous glorious feats for the Empire. He proudly sat atop a dragon's corpse, and from then on, Leon was called the strongest hero of Dolong by others. Leading the Empire to victory, the only hope to end this battle until he became a prisoner of the Dragon Clan. 2 years have passed since he was captured as a prisoner. At this moment, Leon dreamily woke up, suddenly emerging from a long coma, letting out a terrified scream as if coming out of a long nightmare. He breathed heavily, without stopping, an uneasy feeling, creeping in, making him unconsciously touch his chest to assure himself this was the present. Leon Cassius looked around the room where he was resting and realized it was a strange place. He muttered to himself while looking at the unfamiliar surroundings. While he was confused, the main door of the room slowly opened. A small lock of hair peeked out. A cute little girl pushed the door open, saw that he was awake, and happily said, "Who's awake now?" Yes, that appearance of a hero like Leon made him involuntarily flutter inside, so adorable. And he seemed to realize something as he slowly got off the bed and praised himself. It turned out to be like that. I have gradually understood everything. Surely it's because I have contributed greatly to humanity that I was sent to heaven. This little girl now made Leon very excited. He pointed at her and declared she was the legendary angel, making her confused and asked, "What is an angel?" Seeing her innocence like that made Leon Cassius like her even more, sitting down beside her to chat. "Hello, little angel. What's your name?" She happily replied immediately, "Men." The more Leon looked at Men, the more he felt she was gentle and adorable, making him praise her. That's truly a beautiful name. But he was a bit puzzled inside because the angel's hair color was strange, both black and white. Hearing the compliment, she happily explained the meaning of her name. Mom said it means moonlight. This made his curiosity grow a little more. And your angels have mothers too. Anyway, Leon didn't care much about those matters, so he started to introduce himself. "My name is Leon Cassius." She then excitedly said, "I know Leon means lion." This time Men surprised him again, so he asked right away, "Who told you that?" "Mom told me," she answered immediately. Leon's suspicion grew stronger. No way. This time he decided to ask directly, "May I ask, who is your mother?" Before he finished asking, she answered right away, "Roseweiser." That name, which he didn't want to hear, now hearing it, made Leon Cassius freeze on the spot. After a long moment, he finally recovered from the heavy shock and tried to ask further, "If your mother is Roseweiser, then how come I didn't know?" He asked again, and she innocently said, "Dad." Hearing the answer from Men felt like a lightning struck his head, and he tore his hair out. Then Leon wondered, "Dad, how is this possible that she is my child with Joe Swisher?" While he was embarrassed and didn't know how to handle it, he heard Men call out, "Ah, my lady mother." Surprised and tense, he turned to look at the person who suddenly appeared. Unlike Leon's fear, the girl happily ran over, shouting, "Lady mother, Dad is awake." "Yeah, I know." Roseweiser hugged the girl and answered, and at the same time their eyes met. Leon Cassius looked at her with caution, while Weiser provocatively said, "Finally you're awake." Leon ignored the tense atmosphere. The girl still happily said, "Lady mother is very happy to see Dad awake, right? Because every day Mom hopes Dad will wake up." Hearing that, she looked at him with cold eyes and said, "Yeah, that's right. Leon didn't believe those words and thought only a devil would believe them. She lazily ignored him, then said goodbye to the girl. Go out to play first. Tomorrow Mom has something to talk to Dad about. The girl obediently said yes. But now only two people remained in the room. Leon Cassius got straight to the point. Mind, are you really my daughter? Hearing his question, she was not surprised. Of course. She's my biological daughter. And that answer made him suspect she must hate him to her core, not in a hurry with him. Weiser used her tail to close the door that had been opened earlier, which Leon didn't hear the answer to, making him more annoyed and asked further, why did you give birth to the child? Why did you save me? That impatient attitude made Joe Swisher even more amused. You've been asleep for 2 years. The things you did to me 2 years ago, do you think you can just forget them? Those words did not soothe Leon. They only made him angrier. Do you think I want to do that? The Dragon Clan never makes peace with their enemies? If it were a normal time, I wouldn't even touch you even if I died. This time Leon provoked Weiser. Oh, so in other words, touching me is also a torment to you. I don't care, that's obvious. After hearing that reply, she didn't hesitate and wrapped her dragon tail around his leg, pulling him off the bed unprepared. Leon Cassius shouted reflexively. The sudden event confused Leon as he asked her, what do you want to do? Without delay, she crawled fully onto Leon's body, using her delicate hands to tear his shirt apart, her eyes full of desire as she looked at him. Then she used her hands to cast a spell, excitedly sharing, I want to carve my dragon mark onto you. Stop, Rose Weiser. He cried out in fear, but it was too late. The spell to carve the dragon mark was completed. She looked at her masterpiece with satisfaction and said, when your human comrades see the dragon mark on you, how do you think they'll feel? Will they think you're the great hero of the dragon's tribe, or a traitor siding with the Dragon Clan? This had a great psychological impact on Leon Cassius. He looked at the mark on his chest and asked with difficulty, why go this far? But seeing his innocent expression made Joe Swisher even more excited. You still don't get it, Leon. And now I also understand that the concept of revenge for the Dragon Clan has always been a mystery unresolved by researchers. That revenge no longer involves human behavior. It's a combination of elements like fantasy, extremity, and beyond human comprehension. Now she looked at him with a lustful expression, declaring, I want you to live your whole life in shame, a life cruelly humiliated by me. Leon's body also noticeably felt the heat rising. He thought that this feeling, seeing such helpless resignation, made Weiser even more satisfied. She said, then let's begin now. At this moment, I also fully understood the unique traits of the Dragon Clan, specifically Weiser's towards the Silver Dragon Queen Rose. Weiser considered the greatest dragon slayer of humanity, Leon, as a slave of the Dragon Clan. In a way, he was the closest companion of the Silver Dragon Queen. Although this might be hard to believe from a human perspective, this is her form of revenge against the Dragon Slayer as part of the Dragon Clan. Outside the Silver Dragon Fortress, a majestic and splendid place, bathed in warm sunlight, 2 dragon maidservants, carrying 2 baskets, happily chatted along a long corridor inside the fortress. The queen's mood is really good today, one maid said happily. The other maid covered her mouth to laugh and replied, don't you know, her husband has woken up. At that moment, Leon Cassius, the Dragon Slayer, forced into dryness, was hiding behind a wall, watching the 2 dragon maidservants happily talking. The dry Dragon Slayer Leon hid behind a nearby wall, angrily thinking, yeah, that dragon really has moved outside. Am I really her husband now? You all don't understand how scary that female dragon is. He recalled the image of him and Joe Swisher reaching the peak together. She was riding on Leon's hands, clutching the ground, head thrown back in pleasure, shouting, ha ha ha, move faster. Thinking of that made Leon furious. She drained me for a whole day and night. My old waist is about to break. He recalled that terrifying day. Leon's eyes darkened, clenching his fist as the fire of determination to leave here ignited. Leon Cassius, I will never obediently stay here to become her plaything. Ahead, a few Dragon Clan knights were on guard. They wore armor holding spears and halberds, and especially these knights were seriously guarding the area. Leon pressed against the wall, looking back, thinking the side door had 4 Dragon Clan guards. Getting out of here is basically impossible. Suddenly, he turned around, resting his hand on his chin, thinking of the next plan. But why are there so few guards at the Silver Dragon's temple today? It's nothing like 2 years ago when I came in. It's eerily quiet. Then he glanced aside as if discovering something. Why is there a cave here? He pushed aside the grass to reveal a hole. Could this be a trap? He lifted the grass to reveal a small tunnel leading outside. Then Leon Cassius squatted down, holding his face in embarrassment, no longer caring. Now he couldn't think much anymore. No matter what, I have to get out of here. Even if it's a trap, I have to break out of here. He thought about it. He decided to ignore that hole. Goodbye to the perverted female dragon and to little dragon men, who, although very cute, can only temporarily belong to you. He wriggled forward, eyes fixed ahead, hoping for a future escape from this place. At that moment, little men seemed to notice him climbing up from the opposite city wall, looked up excitedly, then turned to Joe Swisher, pointing at Leon crawling through the tunnel in the opposite wall. Tell mother to look, dad's crawling out of the toe hole, so impressive. Mommy. Ida, who was relaxing in a cool swimsuit, lying in the sun, shading herself with an umbrella on the wall and holding a glass of wine, replied, Yes, I see it. It really is impressive. Men stood up excitedly and asked again, So when will mother pick dad up and bring him back? She bent down, placing her hand over the boy's mouth to quiet him, saying, Men, you can't say pick up like that. It's very rude. Little men tilted his head in confusion, hands on hips, asking, Then how should I say it? Joe Swisher smiled mysteriously and answered, Bring back. After a while, Leon Cassius escaped from the dog hole and was running desperately across the field outside. As he ran, he guessed, If I cross those mountains, I should see the border of the territory. Leon still stopped to look around. Running this far, that female dragon surely won't chase me here, right? Suddenly, Leon Cassius sensed something and looked up in alarm. Rose Weiser had transformed into a white dragon flying to catch him. Leon panicked as he saw her rushing toward him. She swooped down where he stood, shouting angrily, You run pretty well, huh? Leon's face showed terror as he turned to flee. Ah, damn it! Rose Weiser shot past him to block his way. She landed in front of him, standing firm, and asked Leon angrily, Is playing with me like this fun for you? Her eyes were full of fierce anger as she looked down and exposed the plan. Tell me. So exciting indeed. Don't you feel like everything is going a bit too smoothly? Who helped you get rid of those guards and even left you an escape hole? He sweat nervously and honestly replied to her, Even knowing it's a trap, I had no other choice. I just didn't expect you to chase me here so fast. Weiser leaned in close and continued, So what if you run back to the human territory now? You already have my mark on your chest. Do you think they will still accept a fake dragon like you? Leon Cassius said louder. Then I'll just start a normal life rather than be tormented by you. Not knowing when to be sensible, Rose Weiser angrily flapped her wings, creating strong gusts of wind toward him. She grabbed Leon's tail tightly, making him startle and shout, Let me go! Where does this female dragon want to take me? He screamed in midair as Weiser grabbed him and flew away. After catching him, Weiser flew up into the sky and headed somewhere. She said, If you want to return, then I will make that happen for you. 3 hours later, near the imperial border city under the bright moonlight in the sky, she flew past a tall tree nearby, then suddenly dropped him from high above, causing Leon Cassius to scream, He fell hard from above, crashing through the tree branches. Finally, Leon landed painfully on a thick branch about the size of a head, but he still had the strength to push himself up. Rubbing his head in pain, Leon Cassius couldn't help but complain it hurt so much. Suddenly, he slowly opened his eyes and realized something ahead. In front of him was the scene of a village still lit with lights blending with the natural trees. Leon was surprised, his face amazed, and moved as he looked at the familiar sight ahead. He exclaimed, This is a human town. Rose Weiser transformed back into her human form, standing beside him with arms crossed in front of giant speakers, replying, Exactly, this is the human empire. She stood next to him, also looking toward the town. Seeing the human town after a long time, do you feel that once you get through there, you can return to the human world? She asked. Leon Cassius was very moved as he looked toward the familiar town, tears ready to fall, like he was about to creep on. But Leon, you can't go back. Even though it's right in front of you, she said smugly to him. The mark on her chest began to glow purple. He was startled, looking down at the mark on his chest, which was the same as Weiser's. And it started glowing too. Oh, I forgot to mention, both of you have the dragon mark engraved. Once one person forms a bond with the other, the dragon mark will react like that, she explained to him smugly as if teasing. As he moved, she cornered him against the tree behind him. Leon fearfully stepped back and bumped into the tree trunk. Now he had no way out and could only stand and endure her. Weiser approached him, placing her hand on the glowing dragon mark on his chest and said, Are you feeling your whole body heat up now? Your heart being torn apart, barely able to contain your emotions. He was trembling with fear, stammering as he replied, "Does that mean I'm stuck here for good? Do you know why I brought you here? I want you to understand what humiliation feels like right here in front of your hometown so close to you." Roseweiser said darkly with a sinister smile, revealing to Leon Cassius the reason she brought him here. Leon was serious. He grabbed the collar covering the dragon marks she caused, then asked her back, "Do you think I'd lose faith because of this?" He stepped toward her, grabbed her wrist tightly, and shouted in her face, surprising her, "I will wait slowly, waiting for the right chance. When that time comes, I'll return the humiliations you inflicted on me doubled." This stunned Roseweiser. Weiser was also surprised by his words. She paused, saying nothing. She looked at him as if she understood something, then closed her eyes and smiled smugly. "All right, then." Then Weiser pressed her chest against him. "I'll wait. As long as you don't die, I won't stop." Her eyes gleamed with some scheme. At night, near the Empire's border city, under the gentle moonlight, a tall tree appeared, a giant tree standing right at the border. After finishing her meal with Leon, Cassius Roseweiser smiled happily and satisfied, lifting her white skirt. "I'm very pleased with your performance just now," she said smugly to Leon, who was lying on the ground, pale and exhausted, tears streaming down like a drained corpse. "How about I bring you here every month to look at your homeland, huh, Weiser?" She moved closer, lying beside him, smiling at Leon, twirling her hand on his chest, teasingly flicking her dragon tail. He was annoyed, sitting up and judging her. Your dragoness only thinks about how to squeeze me dry." She wasn't embarrassed and teased him back proudly. "Whoops, caught seeing through you, no way to hold on long." Joe Weiser turned and said, "Let's go, the girls are still waiting at home." While speaking, she spread her pure white dragon wings with purple streaks around. Meanwhile, Leon Cassius was still sitting behind, fumbling to put his shirt back on. "Wait." A call from him made her pause and turn back to look. Leon stood up firmly, rejecting her offer to take him home, then walked away. "I'm a dragon pretender. I won't let you tie me up and take me home like prey. I'll go home on my own." She laughed and responded to Leon. "Ha, from here to the Silver Dragon. Holy Temple, it takes me 3 hours flying at full speed. For humans, it would take at least 10 days, half a month." But he stubbornly would not let Weiser carry him home and replied, "Only 10 days or half a month. Don't underestimate human endurance. I want to see how long you can last." She found it amusing and laughed, deciding to retract her wings and follow behind him. After some time, Leon Cassius clung to roadside bushes, breathing heavily. After a long journey, he was very tired and kept gasping for breath. His eyes became heavy. Roseweiser walked behind him, teasingly, "Can't walk anymore, huh? Beg me." But Leon quickly cut him off, turning around to refuse. "No one said I'm tired." Hearing this, she scoffed coldly in response. "Humph, all you've got from head to toe is a big mouth." He angrily intended to retort, but before she could say more, both of them heard the sound of armored riders approaching from afar. From a distance, Leon recognized the dragon army and felt hope rise. He intended to approach them. "Great, these people might help me get rid of this dragoness." Roseweiser, on the other hand, darkened her face and glared at him angrily. Leon Cassius turned his face, sensing her murderous intent. Seeing her face darken and eyes redden, his own face turned pale. "I think you're wrong. If we called for their help, Roseweiser definitely wouldn't hesitate to kill them." Hold on a second. The leader of the dragon army suddenly hears something and signals the others to stop. He turns and sees Leon and Joe Swisher in the distance and asks, "Are you two lost?" Leon Cassius forces a smile and scratches his head, replying, No, we're just out for a walk." Because of this, he reluctantly gives up the chance to escape, thinking he can't involve innocent people. The leader jumps off his horse and says, "This forest and mountain area isn't a good place for a walk. There are many dangerous plants and wild animals. How about I escort you two for a bit?" He offers to help Leon and Weiser, stepping toward Leon and extending his hand as if to assist. Introducing myself. "Right, my name is Snail Carver. I'm the captain of Squad 47 of the Imperial Dragon Army." He looks embarrassed and worried as he replies, "Carver, thank you for your kindness. We've also gone through self-defense training and can protect ourselves." In his mind, he keeps begging them not to come any closer. He pleads with Carver not to approach him because Weiser is standing behind and seems intent on killing the entire Dragon Army squad. But Carver seems to realize something. You look somewhat familiar. Have we met before?" The question surprises Leon Cassius, but it also makes her even more displeased. Her gaze sharpens like a blade. Leon turns stunned, seeing that she is already ready to take out the dragon army squad. He thinks something bad is about to happen. Suddenly, he grabs Weiser's hand, which was poised to attack, and pulls her toward himself. Smiling, he says, "Sir, you've mistaken me for someone else. I have a common face. My wife often mistakes me too, right?" He explains to Carver while asking her to calm the situation. Rose Weiser is stunned, looking at Leon in confusion because she doesn't understand why he changed his mind so quickly. Leon Cassius whispers to her, "I'll obediently follow you so we can work together to drive them away." He makes an immediate deal. Rose Weiser clings to Leon, acting coy in front of Carver. The atmosphere between them suddenly becomes sweet, ha ha ha. "Well, then I won't bother you lovebirds any longer." Carver sees the two of them entwined like that and doesn't dare to disturb them further. He laughs, waves goodbye, turns to his horse, and continues the journey. The two stand holding each other, waiting for the Dragon Army squad to get far away. Just waiting for that moment. Weiser changes expression and asks him, "Had enough hugging?" She jerks her hand away to avoid Leon Cassius, startling him into shouting, "Ah. Leon, you're very clever. You didn't call for their help, but there's one thing." She crosses her arms, judging him. "You have to make your position clear. Just because we have a child doesn't mean I'm your wife." Weiser steps closer, loudly confronting him, poking him to remind him, "I never wanted to be your wife." He turns his face away helplessly because that's the only way to keep the Dragon Army squad alive. Leon stands behind, then collapses, his face pale as his palm suddenly aches sharply, causing him to sweat in pain. It turns out he had touched something that made his palm bleed heavily. His eyes look at Weiser standing in front of him, gradually fading. Then he falls flat to the ground, which makes Rose Weiser hear the sound and turn back to see him unconscious. Then she coldly looks at the man who fainted before her, saying, "Humans are so weak." She despises him as she begins to transform, radiating a brilliant purple-white aura. Weiser turns into a dragon again, bites Leon's shirt with her mouth and pulls him up, then easily tosses him into the air before settling him on her back. This time you're asking for mercy, huh?" she says to an unconscious Leon Cassius as she flies toward the sunrise where the sun is just rising. In the magnificent palace, everything continues as usual, but a strange new atmosphere blows in, slowly changing things inside. Now Leon slowly wakes up. Seeing him awake, the child who's been waiting happily shouts, "Daddy's awake." As for Leon, he wonders why his head hurts, like it's been hit with a hammer, and frowns, asking himself why he's here. He hears the child say that Mistress brought Daddy back here. Yesterday's memories are still there, making me tremble when I recall them. Damn, I was finally caught by her like prey. That feeling is kind of strange. I looked down at my hand and saw that someone had bandaged it. Take my hand. Men happily showed off his work. I helped Dad bandage it. Those words from the kid made me think a bit different from what I knew. Dragon researchers say the Long Tribe is fierce, starting from childhood, living a life full of violence and bloodshed. Although Men clearly has the distinct traits of the Long Tribe on him. Looking at my arm, I fell into thought, but the kid had no hostility toward me at all, completely seeing me as her father. Is it because of the mixed bloodline between human and dragon? I happily patted her head and praised her as a reward. Men, you're so good. Getting her head patted, Men was very satisfied, giggling happily. Then Leon Cassius reminded the kid that Men is very adorable, and when she grows up, she must not be like her mother. Got it. Men looked confused after hearing that, not understanding at all. But unfortunately for Leon, Joe Swisher, who had been leaning against the door, had heard everything he said. So she asked back, "What about me then?" That startled Leon Cassius, making him want to disappear. He quickly denied, "No, nothing." When Men saw her appear, the kid happily showed off her achievement. "Mother, Men did it your way to help Dad bandage the wound." But Weiser thought it wasn't that important, seriously, saying, "These are things you should be doing. Yes, I need to try harder to make Mother happy." Men, full of spirit, obediently said, "Yes, Mother." Watching that scene, I thought quietly, she really is a strict mother. Then gently said to the kid, "Men, go hide in the garden first. Dad will count to 100 and then come find you, okay?" Hearing that playing with Leon cast mode made the kid really excited. Really, Dad wants to play hide and seek with Men. Seeing the kid a bit suspicious, I said firmly, "Dad is not like your mother, go quickly." Seeing the kid a little confused, I pretended to start counting 1, 2, 3. "Anyone out there, Dad? Don't count so fast." Men ran away while complaining, "Dad, you just counted to 4 years already." Watching the kid's figure run far away, I saw that only the two of us were left. Leon immediately questioned her, "Is that her?" Hearing me say that, she was a little surprised, asking why. I didn't care about her and asked, "Why are you so strict with the kid?" Rose Weiser sat down, gently crossed her legs, and explained to Leon cast mode. "That's how the Long Tribe is. From childhood, we have to be strict with our children to nurture strong warriors." But Leon objected, thinking the kid wasn't entirely dragon anyway. And besides, men is so adorable, how could you be so harsh? She coldly replied, "Cute dragons are meaningless to dragons." Hearing that, Leon cast mode didn't bother to care and teased Weiser, "You're actually quite cute too." That teasing made Weiser glare at him fiercely, quickly, grabbing his collar and pulling him toward herself. Annoyed, she shouted at Leon, "You're just a slave for me to vent on. Stop acting high and mighty." Realizing he went too far, Leon cast mode reluctantly agreed. You seem obedient now." That satisfied her and she let go. "Good, I'm the king of the Silver Dragon clan. I have many things to handle. The task of babysitting is yours." Taking advantage of the moment, Joe Swisher also hugged Leon, taking some comfort. "That kid really likes you," she whispered in his ear. He changed scene to the garden inside the palace where countless vibrant flowers were planted. Leon was alone looking for men. "I'm the Dragon King, so very busy," meaning dragons like us have to take responsibility for raising children. He looked for the kid while mocking Weiser's words. Searching around, he saw a small figure very much like men. The girl looked so much like men that he thought the kid was too naive, thinking hiding behind something would prevent being found. Leon cast mode walked over and pointed at the girl, shouting, "Found you men." But then the atmosphere became quite awkward as both were silent, making Leon worry if the kid was angry. Meanwhile, the girl, mistaken for men, stayed cold with no expression, which didn't look right. He quickly apologized. "Men, sorry for keeping you waiting. Have you eaten lunch yet?" Before he finished speaking, the girl quickly ran away, making Leon cast mode surprised. "Men, what's wrong?" For some reason, the kid ran off, making him chase after worriedly. "Why are you running like that?" Men searched for a long time but couldn't find her anywhere. The girl made Leon restless, unable to see her anymore, even though he clearly saw her run past just now. He couldn't help but think to himself that children's moods are truly hard to grasp. Frustrated, he thought further, no wonder Joe Swisher entrusted him with taking care of the kids. While he was thinking, men suddenly rushed up from behind, happily hugging him and saying, "Ha, men caught you, Dad." Seeing her suddenly appear made him wonder, "Men, didn't you just run past me a moment ago?" Hearing him say this, the girl looked puzzled and confused. Then men coquettishly said, "No, Dad. I still haven't found you until now, so I ran out to look for you." Her unexpected answer made him hesitate. Could he have been mistaken? The dad didn't care much, grabbed Leon Casmode's hand, and ran off to play. "Men's dad has something he wants to show you." He couldn't think much and just agreed. In the distance, standing alone and watching the happy bonding scene, the girl who looked like men felt a bit jealous and uncomfortable. At that moment, by the fresh and cool fountain, a small cute head was moving about full of joy. The rustling sound of a pencil came from below. Watching men sitting carefree coloring a picture, the rustling sound of paper kept coming. Seeing his daughter so happy, Leon Cassius simply sat on the edge, smiling with his eyes squinted. Around him spread a feeling of love for life, a soaring heart. Having a daughter is truly wonderful. It felt like his entire soul was being healed. Suddenly frustrated, he clenched his fist tightly and silently promised himself, "Sooner or later, Dad will take you away from the devilish claws of the dragon mother." Men ran up to Leon, proudly showing him the drawing like a trophy. "Ta-da, Dad, look, men drew our whole family." Before even looking, Leon flattered her quickly. Men so good, no wonder you're Daddy's girl." He suddenly noticed that in the altered drawing, he and Joe Swisher were holding hands, and below men was holding the hand of another child. Leon wondered, who is this? Pointing to the drawing, he hurriedly asked his beloved daughter, "Men, why are there two kids here?" The girl replied innocently, "That's the older sister." Hearing this, Leon Cosmos was shocked, as if secret information had suddenly fallen on him. "You mean you have an older sister too?" In his mind, comparing the two kids' appearances, Leon realized he had been tricked. So it wasn't possession at first, but twins. The dad rubbed his hair in frustration and groaned, "I saw that kid in the garden earlier. That's the one I called by the wrong name." No wonder she was so angry. Knowing her dad's mood was at rock bottom, the girl tried to soothe him. Men doesn't think she's angry. She was just a bit shy meeting you for the first time." The optimistic tribal chief, Leon Cassius, placed his hand on his chin, thinking, actually, we haven't met yet, so it's normal to be unfamiliar. Gazing toward the distant city, he silently cursed his wife. It's all because that dragon woman hid the truth about the kid from me. I need to find her and get to the bottom of this. In Joe Swisher's study, she was reviewing documents while the informant dragon kept making noises. Suddenly, both heard a noise from outside. It seemed Joe Swisher knew who it was and what was happening, like an abandoned house with no owner. Without bothering to knock, Leon loudly burst in and shouted the other's name, Rose Weiser. That action startled the red dragon, but unlike the foolish husband, she remained strangely calm, putting away the paper and coldly asking men. Although very angry, he still replied, harshly scolding Weiser fiercely, You went looking for your sister to play, huh? You hit it well. How long were you going to keep me from knowing I have an older daughter? Seeing he finally realized, she casually replied, No, now you know. So, slamming his hand on the table, Leon spoke with extreme annoyance. I still have to thank you. Giving birth is already hard enough, but to have 2 kids for me, that's really tough. Leon Cassius shouted loudly, One day when I return to the Empire, I'll make sure to put your name in the family genealogy. Rose Weiser smiled challengingly and asked back, Do you know why I didn't tell you about the older daughter's existence, you stubborn mule? Getting familiar, he arrogantly answered, Because I saw you jealous of my closeness with men, deliberately keeping Noah from meeting his father, that's why. Leon suddenly laughed, puzzled. Are you so eager to meet the girl? Chin held high to the sky, Leon taunted. Who wouldn't want to see their daughter? Unlike you, a cold and strict mother, I have to nurture my relationship with her too. Smiling slyly, Weiser wickedly propped her chin on her hand, watching him. She softly said, All right, don't regret this. After a moment, a cozy scene appeared, the kitchen filled with sounds of busy work. He held the knife like he was about to carve a chicken, feeling proud. Haha, Rose Weiser, today I'll show you. Then the young father quickly sliced pieces of radish, a strategy of Leon Casmode's, to bridge the gap between him and his eldest daughter, the first step being to fill her stomach with delicious food. Leon proudly looked at the pot of food before him, his heart full of victory. The milk stew they often cooked in their group was praised by everyone who tasted it with a sweet flavor, very suitable for the little ones. Judging by the thickness of the broth, Leon thought, not bad, my cooking skills haven't declined. Noah loved food made by her dad. Encouraged by a bottle of plum wine, he smiled confidently and said, This flavor will definitely win over Noah. Seeing him grin so widely, the maids couldn't help but feel happy, even though Leon Cosmos looked a bit crazy now. The maid with bangs praised the young prince who just recovered from illness, was already cooking for his family, a true dragon who knew how to care for family. A servant nearby suddenly noticed him arriving. From afar, they saw Dow Swisher leading Noah and men over. They bowed, Her Majesty, the Queen knows your plan. She has instructed the servants not to serve you at tonight's banquet. You may rest. The maids replied, Thank you, Your Majesty. Inside, watching the 3 enter, Leon moved toward the prepared dining table. You all arrived just in time. The little one ran to him, her voice as sweet as sugar cane, praising, Daddy smells so good. Leon quickly boasted, I heard you all love meat, the most especially stewed meat and bones, so I made some for you. Confident he had the upper hand, he looked toward the little girl. Noah sensed her father's intention, but unexpectedly, she just coldly turned away, shocking Leon. The plan failed. Leon Casmode's hopes were dashed. Why is it so different from what I imagined? Bitterly looking at Weiser, he gritted his teeth. That dragon woman anticipated this early on, which is why she didn't let me see Noah. The first time they officially met and introduced themselves, the little girl obediently replied, Yes, mother. Standing before the other person, Noah confidently introduced herself. I am the eldest daughter of the Silver Dragon Queen, Rose Weiser. Noah Melcree, 1 year and 2 months old, quite a big twin. To explain this, since dragons are an immortal species, their young grow much faster than human children. He tried to get acquainted again, the second step to bring Leon and his eldest daughter closer, politely greeting to make a good impression. He extended his hand in a friendly gesture. Hello, Noah. Dad's name is Leon Casmode. I'm your father. But Noah didn't care. Oh, coldly dismissive. Leon was helpless. Why was this kid's attitude so cold? Didn't she have an opinion about me? Mai held Noah's hand, whining, Big sister, say more, don't embarrass Dad. And yet Noah continued. He looked weak at first glance. Are you really our dad? Really our dad? It felt like a slap in the face and a stab to Leon Casmode's heart, causing him so much pain, he coughed up blood. Young father, Leon, felt threatened for the first time looking at the stubborn plum wine bottle. He sarcastically said, truly a filial child. In the warm dining room, the family of four gathered together. Family reunions are supposed to be happy conversations, but now it had become the most torturous time for Leon. Leon Casmode smiled, looking at the two kids. Only the two little girls seemed the most natural. Men pushed the plate of meat toward her older sister in a coaxing voice. Sis, I want some syrup. Noah calmly took it, silently assessing the two daughters who looked alike, but had completely different personalities. Watching Noah calmly cut the meat, while men eagerly waited, he thought, and then commented. Besides, Noah clearly takes after her mother very much. Leon's child folded his hands and smiled, trying to probe the girl. Noah, do you like the food today? But the girl slowly answered, I eat, each word cutting straight into his heart like a knife. Rose Weiser couldn't hold back a burst of laughter. She immediately covered her mouth, but her eyes revealed her teasing. Seeing her mother laugh, men immediately turned to ask the dignified mother, why are you so happy? She smiled and replied, your dad isn't someone who easily reunites with our family. Seeing him happy makes me happy too. Following her gaze, Tram, resting her chin on her hand, pressed him, right, Leon. Why aren't you smiling? Leon Casmode awkwardly forced a laugh. Ha ha ha, of course it's fun to be with family. So from now on, let's have dinner together every day, men. As soon as he said it, she jumped up excitedly, raising her hand high, even with the piece of meat she was still eating, her eyes sparkling as she looked at him. He awkwardly replied, secretly complaining inside, I'm nowhere near ready to eat dinner with that little dragon every day. No way. Noah's childish but firm voice rang out with a serious face. Why not? Men looked disappointed at her sister while Noah slowly ate and replied, because I want to go to the Green Hith Academy to take the dragon nursery class. Weiser's face darkened. She seriously asked the girl, the nursery class at Green Hith Academy is for 4 to 5-year-old dragons. Why are you so eager to enroll? The girl firmly answered with a confident tone, because I want to defeat the dragon fakes. As soon as she finished, Leon jumped in alarm, panicking and shouting nonstop. Wiping his mouth with a napkin, uneasy inside, feeling like his child wanted to defeat him, the old man. Leon Casmode gently smiled and advised, the dragon fakes are all very strong. Noah, you're still so young you'll get hurt. Don't think I'm a kid. The girl crossed her arms and arrogantly looked down on him. Leon got even more panicked, thinking, you are a kid. Joe Swisher's face hardened, arm crossed, voice calm but firm. I think Noah's idea is very good. The earlier she starts school, the sooner she can confront the dragon fakes. But her eyes glanced at Leon Casmode challengingly. Right, Leon? Or do you have another reason to stop Noah from going to school? The question made him grit his teeth in frustration, unable to answer. Leon frowned, thinking if he continued to oppose Noah, she would hate him more. He could only silently try to change her mind. Thinking that he pretended to eat leisurely, awkwardly, answering under his daughter's scrutinizing gaze. No, no. While chewing, he looked at Weiser, happily eating, and silently guessed annoying. I get it, this little dragon wants to use Noah to attack my spirit during dinner. In Leon's mind appeared the terrifying image of Joe Swisher, as if she wanted to devour him alive. Leon Casmode was extremely angry, a fire rising inside. Just wait, Rose Weiser, I'll show you. Even though he was furious, Weiser calmly said, if your dad has no objections, then let's decide that way. The Green Hith Academy will have entrance exams in a month, during which Dad will prepare you. Hearing this, the girl's eyes lit up fiercely with determination. Yes, Mother. The family dinner ended. Weiser immediately stood up next to Men, rubbing her round belly, smiling brightly to her sister. Look, Men's belly is so round. Noah also gently rubbed the tight belly with her small hand. Suddenly, Leon's voice rang out. Hey, Joe Swisher. Hearing that, she turned her head to look at him, annoyed, pointing at the pile of dishes just finished, and said, these dishes still haven't been cleaned. Joe Swisher looked at him puzzled, and she answered with a hint of irritation. These things can be left for the servants to do. Leon Casmode smiled, touched Weiser's shoulder, and then gently reminded her. After dinner, the husband and wife will clean up together. Only then would the family dinner officially end. He leaned close to her ear and asked provocatively, "Didn't you want to build a harmonious family atmosphere in front of the kids?" Even if it was just pretend, as soon as she heard that her eyes met men's full of expectation. Not wanting to disappoint her daughter, she sighed and agreed. "All right then, that's all there is to it." The little one quickly raised her hand. Men wanted to help too. Just as she finished speaking, a small hand reached out. Noah quickly pulled Men's dress and dragged her away. Let's go, let's go." Despite men struggling and screaming loudly, "Sis, where are you going?" A while later, all the dishes were cleaned thoroughly at the sink. Rose Weiser wore a cold expression, took off her apron, and asked irritably, "When are you going to help me, Leon?" Without answering, he calmly asked her back, "Rose Weiser, have you forgotten what I told you 2 years ago? You must never be alone with the strongest fake long mark that has undergone strict training." As soon as he finished speaking, Weiser's body stiffened, unable to move, and the seal on her chest suddenly lit up. She panicked and shouted loudly, "Leon, what do you want to do?" His face hardened, his aura covered with a cold layer, seriously saying, "Before I was traveling far away, my strength wasn't enough, so you suppressed the long mark and toyed with me in the palm of your hand. But now it's different. Don't think you can escape by using that trick." Rose Weiser shouted as she broke free from his grip, quickly attacking Leon with her tail, but he reacted fast and blocked the strike with his hand. "Who said I want to run?" His hand tightened on her tail as he said while pinning her down. Suddenly she screamed, her face involuntarily flushing red, and that familiar feeling appeared in her body again. This brat's whole body went limp as he knelt down. Leon Cassius confidently approached her with a threatening tone, still squeezing Weiser's tail tightly. "Tired already, Your Majesty the Queen?" The effect of the long mark made her tail extremely sensitive. He squeezed her tail like a weak little kitten caught by the neck. Her body trembled in waves, and he continued speaking. "This is knowledge I discovered from the Long Clan's books, you know." He leaned close to Weiser's trembling face and spoke each word menacingly. "Rose Weiser, have your desires for conquest, your desires to control everything, ever been conquered?" The question triggered undeniable panic in Weiser's eyes. Rose Weiser's heavy breathing echoed in the dark room. She shivered and turned her head with difficulty to beg. "Leon, let go of my tail." He grabbed her tail, his voice full of hatred, as if he wanted to swallow her whole. "Let out everything you've endured since I woke up. You've always trampled on my dignity beneath your feet, treating me like a toy. Tonight it's my turn." His tone was arrogantly provocative. "Have you heard enough of my nagging words about my limits?" Angrily, she shouted, "Leon, you bastard!" Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door, and both of them startled, turning toward the door. It turned out to be two maids outside, giggling and teasing each other. "I wonder if the Queen's post-meal lovemaking time is over yet." The two opened the door to reveal an immaculately clean kitchen, surprising them both greatly. One girl couldn't help but say, "Whoever cleaned this did a great job." The other maid asked curiously, "Was it the prince?" The maid with tied-back hair picked up a thoroughly washed plate and smiled brightly as she showed it to the other. Peeking through the door crack, Leon carefully observed every move of the two maids' thoughts flashing through his mind. He turned around, grabbed Weiser's chin with one hand, and reminded her, "Don't think about speaking up, Your Majesty the Queen." In the cramped space, every action became intimate, and her face flushed deeply. He continued, "You don't want the maids outside to find out that the normally high and mighty Queen is like this, do you?" Looking toward the other side of the door came the lively voices of the maids. She remained silent, but her eyes like blades kept glaring at him. Leon ignored her anger. His hand tightening on her chin was full of satisfaction. He pressed his face against her cheek and praised, "Well done now. Let's start, my beloved wife." Leon smiled triumphantly, cold and satisfied. He looked down at Weiser's face, which had turned pink from his words, but she didn't reply, only responding with resigned eyes. One morning, 3 days later, at the castle. "It's been 3 days and Dad hasn't woken up. Is he dead?" Men's innocent question echoed. On the bed lay Leon Cassius, motionless. The two little girls climbed closer, Men asked worriedly. But Noah remained calm and replied, "Try it and you'll know." She quickly kicked his face hard with her tiny foot, causing him to grimace in pain and shout, "Ow, that hurts, really hurts." Still keeping her foot on his face, Noah nodded and concluded, Still not dead." Leon silently endured and muttered, "Is this how you treat your father?" Finally, he opened his eyes, groaned once, then fully woke up as if just regaining consciousness. Seeing that, little men cheered joyfully. She turned to Roseweiser, who stood obediently across the room, and announced, "Mother Father is awake again." Beside her, Leon wearily propped himself up and asked confusedly, "When did I faint?" Weiser crossed her arms, glanced at him coldly, and asked, "Do you need me to help you remember?" He suddenly exclaimed in surprise, briefly recalling the events of that day, remembering that Longvan lost his power that night and really got hit by her once. The past images rushed back, the vivid slap clearly appearing in his mind. He bent down to put his feet on the bed, looking at the woman adjusting her clothes, unable to help but lament. This female dragon is really vicious. If it were a normal person, they would have died multiple times under her claws. But when he saw Weiser opening the door to welcome the sunlight, her delicate face illuminated by the morning light, for some reason a thought appeared in his head. Looking closely, she was quite beautiful, clearly, a dragon over 200 years old. "Why is Dad motionless?" The sudden question, along with Men's childish voice, woke him from his vague thoughts. Little Noah saw his expression and immediately recognized his displeasure, replying to his younger sister, "Looking at Mother, sir, it's really foolish." Then Roseweiser finished opening the window and clumsily placed her hand on the table, dropping an object. She was briefly surprised, eyes glancing down to pick it up, but a large hand had picked it up first. Leon pinned it into her hair, smiling gently at Weiser. "This looks pretty good on you." This quick action made her show a bit of surprise. Her eyes widened looking at him, but soon she returned to her cold and proud demeanor. At first disdainfully asking, "I didn't expect you to be quite refined. You haven't done this with any other girl before, have you?" Leon Cassius heard this and replied with utter helplessness and irritation, "Right when I was little, I used to brush the Sage Master's donkey's fur, so it was very obedient." Little Men stepped forward, looking up at him with big, curious eyes. "Dad, what is a donkey?" Seeing his daughter's expectant eyes, he immediately updated her knowledge. "A donkey is kind of like a dragon, 2 ears, 1 tail, very stubborn. Whenever unhappy, it likes to grunt." As he spoke, he used both hands to illustrate. Men was delighted, just like mother and child. As soon as he finished speaking, Weiser quickly shot a sharp glance. She rushed over and punched him straight in the stomach with her elbow. Leon clutched his stomach in pain, shouting loudly, Dad, are you okay?" Men worriedly asked, her small hand reaching out to check if he was all right. Opposite was little Noah's face, coldly observing him, clutching his stomach in pain and bending over but still pretending to be fine. "Dad's fine. Your mission today is to learn to write Dad's name. You will be responsible for teaching the youngest ones." Weiser's voice sounded stern as she looked at the 2 little ones. Suddenly, Leon's sharp shout tried to interrupt an objection. "Assigning tasks to me without permission again. Dad teaches us how to write." Men was extremely excited, smiling brightly, stretching out his arms, showing enthusiasm. In contrast, Noah whispered irritably, "I can write by myself." Before she finished, Men had already grabbed his sister's hand and ran to the study, excitedly saying, "Sis, let's go to the study to pick some nice pens." Then babbling again, asking, "Sis, what color do you want?" Though not very enthusiastic, Noah still answered out of politeness, "Purple." Leaving the room with only the 2 adults, Roseweiser sternly warned Leon, "My sister will visit today. I don't expect you to appear in front of her." Hearing this, his brows furrowed tightly, mockingly asking her, "Why? You don't want me to meet your family?" She stepped close to his ear, curling her lips to whisper a reminder, "Leon Cassius, you are now a dragon who married into the Silver Dragon clan. Due to some illness, you were in a coma for 2 years and only recently woke up. If it becomes necessary to be seen, you must also act according to the role I assigned you." Roseweiser said, while tapping on his chest, showing a very challenging attitude. Hearing her provocative words, he showed discomfort but couldn't retort. Finally, he glanced sideways and agreed, "Got it, Your Majesty, Queen." After her slender figure left, his face darkened, feeling uncomfortable and angry, wondering, does this female dragon think I will obediently follow her? Darkness surrounded him as he coldly laughed with calculation. "Roseweiser, I will embarrass you right in front of my sister." At the Silver Dragon, the sanctuary in the children's study, filled with many books on shelves and a tall window allowing soft sunlight to illuminate the entire room. "Do as Dad just taught, look carefully." Leon Casmode's voice echoed in the quiet room as he carefully held the pen, writing the word "men" with a small tail that wiggled continuously, listening intently. Meanwhile, little Noah silently observed him, pointing as he wrote, "Like this now. Dad writes both your names up here, you guys copy it and write it a few times, okay?" Saying that, he pushed 2 sheets of paper toward the 2 kids. Men jumped up excitedly, staring intently while Noah crossed her arms, showing little expression. She took the paper and dryly remarked, "Not as nice as Mom's handwriting." Hearing that, he felt annoyed, holding back anger, and said, "Hey, Dad has work to do, okay?" Men saw him stand up suddenly and curiously asked. Leon gently replied, "I forgot to give something to your mom earlier, so I have to return it to her with double the amount." He hurried to the door and called back inside. "Wait for Dad to come back and check." "Okay." Men waved goodbye to him, while Noah looked at him with great displeasure at this action and quietly asked, "Is he stupid?" Hearing that, Men replied excitedly, "But it seems like Big Sis is kind of happy." Noah turned coldly. "No, hurry up and write." But her flushed face and bright eyes staring at the paper Leon just wrote betrayed her childish heart. At the Silver Dragon Cathedral Gate, a majestic figure with blazing red hair entered, flanked by guards and maidservants welcoming her. That was Isa Melkov, the Scarlet Dragon Queen. She carried a regal beauty with fiery red hair and eyes, her proud demeanor enhancing her aura. As soon as she arrived, Roseweiser ran up and hugged her tightly, eagerly. "Greetings, sis, it's been so long." She calmly looked at her sister. "A year without seeing you, your complexion looks much rosier now." Weiser shyly held her cheek, her voice playful. "Really?" "Not really." Isa lifted her chin, curiously asking, "I heard your husband woke up. Why haven't I seen him?" Rose Weiser forced a smile, embarrassedly making excuses. "He's not feeling well today, can't meet right now." Isa closed her eyes, showing a thoughtful expression. "Is that so? What a pity. I thought I'd get to see the Dragon King and how he kidnapped my little sister." Then she stared intently at Weiser's face, her tone probing. "The union of the Dragon King is always for the benefit of the clan and the army without love. But you and your family's heir got married and had a child. So quickly. Does that mean your feelings are really that good?" She turned sharply to object. "On the contrary, does marrying and having a child mean that the feelings are really that good?" Firmly, she declared, "I have no feelings for him, not now and never will." Isa seemed to read her sister's heart, already having the answer. She just smiled lightly, still pretending to be tough-mouthed like before. All right, it's been so long since we met. Let's take a walk in the garden and chat." Weiser linked arms with her sister, winked playfully, and added a little charm as she made the suggestion. In the distance, the image of the two sisters laughing and talking happily was captured in the frame. She is Joe Swisher's sister. What Leon carefully observed through binoculars, then wondered to himself. He put down the binoculars, smiling slyly. "Then let me test how far Longvun's influence really goes." The two girls approached the flower garden, looking at the blooming roses. Isa calmly shared information with her sister. "Recently, the Dragon Clan's territory hasn't been very stable, especially Dragon King Scarlet Flame. That brat has been very active lately." The image of a fierce fire dragon flashed in Weiser's mind, and she tensely thought, "Is it Constantine? Hasn't Constantine been out of sight for a long time?" Her face suddenly fell. She asked Isa again with folded arms, hesitating, as she answered, "Who knows, he's always hot-headed. Maybe he wants to take advantage to expand his territory." Suddenly a spark seemed to run through her. Joe Swisher's seal glowed purple. She startled and looked down. At that moment, she widened her eyes in panic. "What's wrong, Isa?" Seeing something unusual, she turned to ask her sister. She quickly covered the seal on her chest, awkwardly saying it was nothing. "Go on, tell me more, you fake dragon scum, damn you, Weiser." Looking toward the castle, thinking of Leon's smug face over what he caused her, she silently cursed inwardly. In a steady voice, Isa continued the discussion. "To prevent accidents, we need to strengthen border defenses. If there's any movement there, I'll send the faithful dragon to contact you." But Weiser, her face flushed and extremely uncomfortable, barely caught any of the information. "Longvun's power is growing stronger every day, continuing like this." Rose Weiser shrank inwardly, uncomfortable and trembling, her mind racing. Isa turned back perceptively, noticing her oddness. Worriedly asked, "Rose, are you really okay? Your face is all red." Sis Weiser was very embarrassed, avoiding eye contact, answering with trembling shoulders. "I just suddenly remembered some urgent business to handle. Maybe I'll be back in a few dozen minutes." "Okay." Isa waved her hand to say it was fine. "Go ahead." "Need me to go with you?" Rose Weiser hurriedly ran off, not forgetting to shout back, "No need." Isa smiled slyly, her eyes watching her sister's back with a dark look, as if she had already figured it out. Longvin's always like this. Young people nowadays really go big. But I want to see how long Rose Weiser can hold out. His voice rang out playfully, leaning back in his chair, casually crossing his legs and enjoying himself. A Leon Weiser's ear-piercing scream filled the room as she slammed the door and stepped inside. He was startled, turned his head back excitedly and said, why are you back so soon? Did you deliberately cause Longvin to resonate now, trying to embarrass me in front of my sister? Joe Swisher's eyes widened, grabbing his collar, angrily scolding him. Frozen by her fierce anger and unsure how to react, he decided to pretend innocence while he figured out what to do next. Leon Cassius immediately whined, his eyes sparkling as he looked at her, his voice coaxing and sweet, replying with a cheesy question. Is it wrong for me to miss you too? She was surprised by his words, her hand loosening his collar. What are you talking about? Moments later, her head felt like it would explode, her face red as a ripe tomato, unable to believe what she just heard. Seems like the effect isn't bad. At least now she feels disgusted because of me, right? He smiled smugly, watching her cover her hot, flushed face with her hand. No, after a few seconds, she regained her composure, turning her face to shout stammeringly, No, shameless? What's the point of a defeated prisoner spouting such trash? Take back your thoughts immediately. Clearly came to deal with him. So why am I scared by just a few words from him? She frowned, looking at Leon, who was casually crossing his arms and smiling, forcing herself to calm down. Finally, she returned to a calm expression, giving a cold smile as a warning. Consider yourself lucky this time. Next time I won't go easy on you. Weiser didn't realize that behind her, Leon was quietly joking. Why would I be scared? But then his face also flushed proudly, stroking his chin with delight. Just one flirtatious line and she's already so flustered. Longvin's effect is really strong. Suddenly he touched his chest, feeling waves of excitement inside, making him wonder, but why does my heart beat so fast when I think of her face? Hey, Cass Mode, snap out of it. Stop thinking about those silly things. Just thinking about it, he shouted, slapping his cheek to sober up. The two kids are still waiting for me. In the study room, little Noah was diligently practicing writing, while Men was so bored he complained, why isn't Dad home yet? At the gate of the Silver Dragon Cathedral, soldiers stood in neat rows outside, behind Isa Melkov. Yes, then I'll go ahead today. Isa Melkov waved goodbye to Weiser. Behind her sprouted a pair of wings blazing red like fire. Rose Weiser happily crossed one arm over her chest and waved goodbye with the other. Yes, be careful on your way. At this moment, Isa Melkov had transformed into a young dragon. Her dragon was a deep blood red, radiating a powerful red aura. She said to Weiser, next time you have to show me your husband. Weiser agreed, replying to her, all right, next time. Then Isa Melkov and the Long Tribe Knights also transformed into dragons and soared into the sky, leaving Weiser below. Moments later, Rose Weiser's expression changed immediately after they left. Her face looked annoyed. She gritted her teeth angrily, thinking, that fake Long guy thinks I haven't disciplined him enough. Tonight I'll give you a lesson, Weiser scolded silently in frustration. At the same time, Leon Cassius, sitting in his room, suddenly sneezed. Apparently, bad-mouthing someone really does make them sneeze. Does he think that female dragon was scolding him? He rubbed his nose with his hand, wondering, is everyone asleep already? Seeing the two kids sleeping soundly, he closed the book he was reading to lull Men and Noah back to sleep. Leon pulled the blanket over the two kids, whispering to his children, don't catch a cold. Then Leon quietly stepped out the door, gently trying to close it to avoid waking the two kids. Before he could do anything, Weiser suddenly stood behind him, slapping the door right in front of Leon, startling him. He turned around to see her with an unhappy look, and she asked sternly, where do you think you're going? Leon Cassius knew he was in trouble, nervously trying to change the subject. Has your sister left already? A Rose Weiser smiled slyly, replying to Leon, Mom, yeah, we still have unfinished business today, right? Without giving him time to respond, she grabbed the back of his collar and dragged him along helplessly, loudly saying, follow me. Leon struggled, replying, don't. She dragged him to the Silver Dragon Queen's bedroom, decorated in white and gold, exuding elegance and nobility. Leon carried a basin of hot water and placed it on the carpeted floor, rolling up his sleeves as he knelt, looking up to ask Weiser, hot water is here. What do you need it for? Weiser sat on the bed, crossing her legs, holding out her foot to Leon and ordering, I've been out all day and I'm very tired. Help me wash my feet. Leon looked at her, confused, and asked again, what? Her face looked down at him with a displeased gaze, saying, say less. I told you to do it, so do it. This is the punishment for what you caused today. Leon Cassius looked annoyed. He took off her heels and gently lifted her feet. In his mind, he thought bitterly, a so-called dragon lord reduced to a slave washing the feet of a dragoness. With no other choice, he had to wash the feet of this dragoness. This is what you get for enjoying it too much. These feet must have stepped on countless bodies of many dragon lords. He thought while staring intently at Weiser's soft feet after removing her white socks. She suddenly looked at him, wondering why he was staring at her feet like that. Could he have some disgusting fetish? Weiser started overthinking, her face flushing red at the thought. Suddenly, he grabbed both her feet and dunked them into the water, forcefully startling her. He shouted proudly, "Dip them down!" Her soft feet, soaked in the hot water, started turning red. "Ah, too hot!" Weiser reflexively lifted her feet and accidentally kicked Leon hard in the mouth, causing his head to snap back and bleed. He fell hard onto the floor from the powerful kick. "Leon, you're deliberately getting back at me, aren't you?" Weiser, very angry, got up from the bed and stepped on the chest of the man she just kicked. He smirked proudly and teased her, "Who told you to make me wash your feet?" Hearing that Weiser was even more annoyed, her face still flushed as she replied, "Leon, it seems you still haven't learned your lesson. You never thought you'd end up like this," she said while tiptoeing her wet foot down onto Leon's stomach. "Being stepped on like the dragon's foot, huh?" She slid her foot all the way down to his crotch and stomped hard, making him flinch and close his eyes in pain. Leon winced and shouted, "Okay, stop, 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 foot." Leon Cassius lifted his head, opened one reddened eye to look at Weiser and said, but in his mind thought, damn, this humiliating yet pleasurable feeling makes Leon feel satisfied when Rose Weiser presses her foot on that thing of his. She smiled proudly, tilting her head and looking down at him, laughing. Her foot still rested on Leon's manhood. Her delicate toes gripped it tightly as if torturing a slave. She continued, I want to see how long you can endure." His face reddened with embarrassment, but he refused to surrender to her actions. He couldn't give in to the authority of the dragoness. Leon reached out and grabbed Weiser's ankle. Sitting up with a smug smile, he said loudly, "I've eaten pigs' trotters, cows' feet, goats' legs, but I've never eaten a dragon's foot." Weiser froze, asking Leon, what do you want to do?" Without hesitation, he lunged and bit a big chunk off Weiser's fair, delicate foot with a satisfied expression. Tonight's special gnawing on a raw dragon's claw. He bit her foot and joyfully exclaimed, "Leon Cassius, I will kill you." She screamed so loudly it echoed outside the palace. The next morning, the two little ones, Men and Noah, woke up still dazed, looking at their mother. "Why are you limping like that, Mom?" The little girl asked Joe Weiser, who had one foot wrapped without a sock. She crossed her arms with a displeased face and replied, "It's nothing." Little Men then turned to ask Leon, "Dad, why do you have bruises on your face?" Leon also looked annoyed, crossing his arms and saying, "It's nothing." Little Men looked confused, hands on hips, staring at Leon and Weiser. Then suddenly his eyes sparkled, and he raised his hand as if he had figured something out. "Oh, you two must have been playing some fun games behind Men's back, right? Men wants to join too." Noah stood beside him, looking helpless, and said nothing. In the garden outside the Silver Dragon Holy Palace, Leon Cassius and Joe Weiser were strolling around. Although they were walking together, there was a distance between them. Neither said a word, just walking forward. The servants in the distance looked on admiringly. "Look, the queen and the prince are on a date." A short-haired maid smiled and replied, "Ha ha, so romantic," but she's sharp-eyed to see the issue between them. "But why does Her Majesty the Queen seem so distant from the prince?" And just as she said, Joe Weiser and Leon Casmart were very quiet. The two didn't bother to speak to each other. She just stared coldly ahead. Leon also glanced away, saying nothing to her. He walked behind, frowning, wondering why things turned out this way. Isn't it because he wanted to find out the truth? We have to go back a little bit in time. At that time, Leon heard Weiser and panicked, "Go for a walk." "Why should I go for a walk with you?" She frowned, crossing her arms, showing no willingness to go with him, replying, "Pretending to be a harmonious family in front of others is something you need to do too." Back in the present, as they walked in the flower garden, Leon watched her silhouette ahead, still not understanding why she did that. Rose Weiser is acting a bit strange today. Normally she's not this proactive. What exactly is she planning? Men and Noah Melqui, standing by a distant tree, peeked at the two and couldn't help but complain, "Those two idiots don't even know how to hold hands." As the beloved daughter Men volunteered to handle the situation. Men said she would help, which made Noah panic and try to stop her. "Wait, let them be alone." Before she could finish, her little sister suddenly jumped and ran over to them. The little girl excitedly ran up to them, calling, "Mother, your majesty!" "Father." Both of them noticed the child's call. Leon Kazmart, seeing the child, asked curiously, "Men, why did you come out here?" She said nothing, holding her father's left hand and her mother's right hand. Very naturally, she placed their hands together and said casually, "When you go for a walk, you should hold hands." Having completed her mission, she turned and ran off. "Men is going to play with my sister now." Leon watched Men's figure run away speechless. Where did this kid learn this stuff? But he didn't know what awaited Men was a scolding from Noah. The child cried painfully and begged, "Hoo-hoo, Men was wrong. Men won't do it again, sister. Please forgive me." Both of them blushed in understanding the child's purpose. Leon Kazmart glanced away and asked her, "This is a bit unexpected. What should we do?" Joe Swisher shyly replied, "No, it's okay. Just hold hands like this." Still, the two didn't forget to tease each other a bit. "You're so gentle today, I'm not used to it." Hearing that, she confidently responded, "Looks like you've been tamed by me. Now that I'm being nice to you, you're the one who's not used to it." He glanced at the woman beside him, silently judging in front of others. Joe Swisher always carried the queen image, but unexpectedly was shaken by this hand-holding. Seeing the awkward atmosphere drag on, Leon started the conversation first. "But in front of you, Men and Noah always call you mother." Hearing this, Weiser frowned and asked back, "Is there a problem?" Leon straightforwardly shared his opinion with her. "Look, usually Dad is paired with Mom. Everyone calls me Dad and calls you Mother. Doesn't that show they're not very close to you?" Rose Weiser didn't answer, just shyly glanced away to avoid conflict with her mother. "That's a big difference." Hearing her say that, he smiled sincerely and suggested, "Of course, or try asking them to call you Mom. I bet they'll be closer to you than they are now." Every word immediately touched Weiser's heart. That made her blush instantly, her eyes wide as she looked at Leon. She couldn't keep calm and quickly walked ahead. "I know, I'll try it next time." Leon pulled along and lost his balance and hurriedly said, "Hey, why are you suddenly walking so fast?" The two slowly walked toward the castle. In the distance, under the golden sunlight, she suddenly asked, "Hey, Leon, do you miss home?" Hearing that, he calmly replied, "Why suddenly ask this? After all, you didn't even let me go home." She also shared her purpose for bringing him to the castle. "I can't let you go home, but there's something that might ease your homesickness." Hearing that surprised him. The two stood before a thick black gate intricately carved. It was the gate leading to the storage behind the holy sanctuary mountain. He looked up in amazement at the huge gate before him. "Where is this Weiser?" Calmly taking out a bunch of keys, she said, I still haven't named it." She took out a key, inserted it into the lock, then said to him, "Call it the storage room for anything." The heavy door of the storage room gradually opened, releasing a thick layer of dust that had accumulated from long neglect. She continued, "Anything goes." Rose Weiser stepped inside first, while Leon Kazmart, visiting such an unfamiliar place for the first time, couldn't help but marvel and look around the treasure trove of the ancient dragon, then suddenly spotted a jade bracelet in the distance. He was amazed and stepped forward to try touching it. This would sell for at least tens of gold in the empire. She explained to him from behind, "This is the bracelet my mother gave me at my coming-of-age ceremony." Standing behind her with arms crossed, Weiser added, "Besides war trophies, there are a few items here that hold important meaning for me." Hearing this, Leon was surprised and said, Besides your sister, I've never heard you mention any other relatives." She honestly told him, "I've never met my parents or sister. I was raised by my grandmother." Hearing about her past, he sincerely shared his story. That's similar to me. I grew up in an orphanage, never met my parents. It was my master and foster mother who raised me." But he didn't forget his purpose. Why did Weiser bring him here? "So what exactly do you want me to see here?" Then Rose Weiser remembered her intention, bent down and pulled a large chest from afar closer, saying, "I already told you earlier, this is something that can help you momentarily forget your troubles." Leon looked inside the chest in amazement. "Hakim armor." Looking at the shining black armor inside the chest, Weiser asked him, "Leon, you've always wanted to get this armor back, right?" But Rose Weiser now smiled mysteriously, pretending to agree with him. "Yes, that's right." He reached out to lightly touch the armor, and immediately a surge of energy emitted, displaying a complex symbol that quickly pushed him back. Leon exclaimed in surprise, "Demonic dragon script, I can't believe it. The black gold armor, my good brother, has it fallen so far? Even you have fallen this far." But seeing his shocked expression was exactly Weiser's plan. With a dark expression and an aura of death surrounding her, she directly concluded, "Haha, you finally fell into the trap, Leon." She kindly revealed one more thing to him. The dragon script's effect has now been doubled. She bent down, lifting his chin to ask, "So, my dear dragon imposter, can you handle it?" Rose Weiser looked down with a proud gaze, her face carrying a challenging smile, as she watched Leon Kasmart struggling under the heavy magical circle's pressure on his feet, a sealing symbol appearing on his chest. He panicked and asked, "What are you doing?" Rose Weiser, wearing a pleased expression, touched her chest, where a similar sealing symbol appeared. "Leon, let me explain. On your armor, I added dragon script with an enhancement attribute. The moment you touched the armor, it activated." Hearing this, Leon could no longer resist and collapsed to the floor, trembling all over his face, contorted in pain as he gritted his teeth. He lightly touched the sealing symbol and muttered angrily, "Damn dragon mother, I was careless." Weiser smiled triumphantly, revealing a wicked fang. The dragon script's effect after enhancement would be doubled. Her slender hand caressed Leon's trembling chin, slowly speaking as if to lure him. "So, my dear dragon imposter, can you handle it?" Leon frowned, gritting his teeth to endure sweat layering his face. At her provocation, he seemed to reach his limit, his angry gaze narrowing word by word. Taking advantage of the upper hand, she mercilessly pushed him to the floor, but Leon's body still trembled continuously, his face flushed with intoxication. His deep eyes struggled to resist, but his face grew redder and redder. Feeling the abnormal sensation, he cursed softly, unable to move his body. The stimulation below was even more intense than before. Seizing the moment, Rose Weiser pressed both hands on his body, her cheeks faintly pink as she laughed provocatively. "Do you really think I hold no grudge from the last time you conquered me? I've been thinking all these days about how to get my revenge. You thought you could let your guard down, but you fell into the trap so easily." Still, Leon maintained his position, gritting his teeth to endure frowning. Your dragon mother sees this expression, Weiser more excited, her eyes lazily enchanting. "So my performance isn't bad, right?" Leon was so furious he couldn't stand it anymore. He shouted at her, "Were all your words to me today fake? If you never met your parents, would men and Noah call you mom and even hold your hand?" Weiser stared intently at his face, her tone turning serious as she honestly denied, "No, it's all true, but it doesn't affect what I'm doing with you, Leon." As she spoke, Weiser began to slip off her thin robe, her full chest subtly revealed. "What did you say to me before?" Within seconds, her upper body was bare, her slender back, pale and smooth, like bone, teasing his gaze. "Ah, you said I like to conquer, but deep down I was completely caught in the net of love." She smiled with satisfaction. "Haha, that's right. I really do love conquering." That beautiful face leaned close to Leon's handsome one, every word a prepared bait. "Except for my dear husband." Naturally, he couldn't resist and only muttered softly, "Ugh, damn it." Outside the castle, the atmosphere was quiet, cut off from the couple's actions inside. After a while, Leon Cassius's eyes were vacant, tears streaming like a waterfall. "It's finally over." Rose Weiser propped her head with one hand, amused as she looked at him, both still naked. The spy glared coldly at her, annoyed, and asked, "What are you planning to do?" She happily squeezed his cheeks into two dumplings, smiling teasingly. Compared to 2 years ago, the scars on his face had faded, but his appearance was more gaunt and weary, filled with the breath of a more mature man. Leon was so bullied by her that he turned away, arms crossed, refusing to look at her, his face pouty and extremely angry. "Humph, tease me again and I won't fall for it." Of course, Weiser was very pleased, her triumphant smile wide, as she pulled her robe back up to cover her jade-like body, adding, "Praise. Yeah, you're smarter now." In no time, her clothes were neat again, and she spoke softly. But Leon Cassius quickly spun his head around and glared at her with bulging eyes. "You," Weiser covered her mouth, laughing like it was harvest time, her cheeks slightly flushed from their fun, her eyes full of meaning as she teased, "Your body isn't like it used to be anymore." Leon's eyes widened, frozen in dark circles visible beneath his mind, sinking into a black, cosmic abyss. Ah, that phrase, "isn't like it used to be anymore." Moments later, only the sound of thunder crackled by his ear. Seconds passed and he remained still. "Not like before, so embarrassing I could get extra credit at the encyclopedia." Leon couldn't accept it, shouting loudly, Not like before. Not like before at all. The next day, the early morning sun shone brightly over the magnificent castle. Leon opened the door, his tired face showing panda-like eyes. I'm here. Wiser, bring Noah Melqui over. His face held a faint smile for his male favorite. Good morning. She furrowed her brows, smiled, and teased again. Looks like you didn't sleep well last night. Leon was extremely angry, gritting his teeth to hold back. It's because of what you said. Wiser beamed, eyes squinting. Then why don't I remember it anymore? Noah, seeing his two parents acting less mature than him, sighed and judged. Here we go again. After joking around, Wiser returned to the main topic seriously, reminding Noah about the strict entrance exam of the Blue Breath Academy. Starting today, you have to carefully tutor Noah on the knowledge of the Dragon Clan. Before a second passed, she leaned close to Leon's face, whispering teasingly, Anyway, for now, you can only shine in other areas. Leon's anger flared as he clenched his fists in protest. Damn it, last night was just a bad state. He looked determined and loudly affirmed, I will definitely help Noah pass the exam, but I also want to exchange with you for something of equal value. Wiser laughed coldly and promised, For you, it's not a problem, but your demands can't be too much. Leon's eyes were pained, hiding unknown thoughts, promising to keep his word. Then she turned and left, laughing happily, but not forgetting her scholar role. All right, you two, study well, darling. Don't get too tired. Leon was so angry he was about to start a rebellion. Dragon Queen, will you stop already? Dad Noah gently asked, Why are you arguing with Mom again? Leon was still sulking, but quickly hid his bad mood, pretending to be normal. Suddenly, a flash of surprise appeared in his eyes. Wait, what did you call her? Noah replied casually, Mom. Leon's dad seemed extremely excited. She told you to change how you address her? Do you prefer how you said it before or now? The little girl suddenly looked shy and turned her face away. Now. He smiled happily. Haha, I told you kids will definitely like it. Noah was a bit surprised, her cheeks flushed with a sweet blush, trying to keep a cold facade. Noah turned around. When will we start studying? Leon was also startled. Come on, Noah, wait for Dad. That night inside the Silver Dragon's Sacred Hall's children's room filled with games and stuffed animals for kids. Leon Cassius was gloomy, his face very serious as he looked at the pile of books on the table. From afar, Joe Swisher saw him reading like that and folded his arms curiously. Oh, it's so late and you still haven't slept. He scratched his head with his pen, looking very troubled, as he answered, The other person, Noah's learning ability is pretty good, not suited for simple stuff. I plan to filter key knowledge, combined with exam questions to teach the girl. Now I can only stay up late making lesson plans, thinking of my beloved daughter's sleeping face. So I am confident I can help her pass the exam within a month. After hearing Leon praise his daughter like that, he also felt prouder. She smiled smugly and replied, Of course, after all, Noah takes after me. Hearing that he wouldn't back down and shot a glance rebutting, Not necessarily, Leon confidently stood up, boasting about his achievements during his school years. I was once a top genius graduate with the highest scores in both practical and written exams every year. All the highest scholarships in the school belonged to me. He didn't forget to turn to Rose and ask, What about you, Queen Majesty? What championship did you earn? She was so surprised by the question that she was momentarily speechless. Wiser frowned with annoyance, thinking to herself that she thought he was just a brute who only fought, but turns out he's a top student too. But she quickly caught Leon's weak spot and retorted, Humph, so impressive, yet how did you end up as my captive? Caught off guard, he immediately got angry and yelled, Damn it, I only lost that one time. Leon Cosmos lamented his fate, turning his back on Wiser and shedding 2 tears of pain, vowing eternal hatred over one slip-up. Oholak Benjung, bullied by the dragon, smugly reminded her from behind, You're the one being ridden by the dragon, right? Suddenly, Joe Swisher saw a plate full of small orange chili peppers on the table. She curiously asked, Oh, Chili, what are you going to do with these? Folding her arms, puzzled by Leon's intention. He replied from the other side of the table, Oh, these, He smiled with determination and said, I got them from the kitchen to keep me alert. Seeing him, she immediately bit into a piece of chili in her hand. Wiser hurriedly raised her hand, shouting to stop him, Wait, that's the golden chili of the Dragon Clan. A human like you probably can't handle it. He had just finished speaking when it was already too late. From inside his stomach, a fire-like heat surged straight to his face, making Leon's face flush red. The next second, he experienced what it meant to scream fire. He was like a fire-breathing dragon, spewing flames, screaming, so spicy. His mouth burned hot, and his whole body felt scorching pain. He immediately ran frantically around the room, knocking over everything and shouting, "Water, water, isn't there any water here?" Seeing Leon in such pain, Weiser was worried and instinctively put her hand on his face. This surprised him immensely. His face instantly blushed as he looked at the hands resting on his cheek. Weiser wasn't much different from him. She shyly turned her face away and said, "My hands are quite cold, they might help you feel better." Just as she said, seconds later, Leon felt a cool sensation soothing the heat on his face. He closed his eyes, enjoying it, thinking to himself, "Rose Weiser's cold touch on my face feels very comfortable." Feeling her slender hand on his face, he couldn't help but silently praise, not icy cold like ice, but a gentle coolness. After a while, feeling no more burning inside, Leon Cosmos pulled away from Weiser. He shyly thanked her. "Thank you, I'm fine now." She hesitated but replied, Then the atmosphere between them suddenly became awkward. Both blushed, turning their heads away to avoid eye contact. To heighten the awkwardness, knowing she couldn't stay long, Weiser turned and left first, not forgetting to remind him, "Go to bed early, don't eat too many spicy chilies, or you'll get mouth sores, then you'll have to use sign language to teach Noah." Leon rubbed his chest to calm himself and quickly replied, "Got it." Watching her back as she left, he couldn't help but blush, thinking about just now how he let her touch his face. Feeling how absurd that was, a cold chill ran down Leon's spine, making him shiver and wake up. She is a cruel dragon queen who tricked you into a corner and is now crazily squeezing you. In the end, she tells you that your health isn't good. Thinking back, it did feel a bit perverted. I need to find a way to recover my body quickly. Thinking it through, he immediately started searching through the pile of books on the table in front of him. Leon slowly flipped through each page, reading that the red bean long has the effect of regulating blood circulation. It's not this one. Yu Lian Tao, when drunk, can regulate digestion and applied externally can heal wounds. Not this either, and suddenly he saw a page with pictures of black pill-like medicines. That is Long Dai Dao, which has excellent effects on body care, balancing yin and yang and nourishing the body to restore its functions. He happily and excitedly found the item he needed. This is it? Early the next morning, outside, the sunlight shone through the lush green trees, and inside the room, Leon's voice asked Noah, "Noah, Dad finished grading your test earlier. It's out of 100. How many points do you think you got?" Noah responded coldly, seemingly without much hope for this test. The girl softly answered, 50 points, sir." He happily raised the test paper excitedly, showing her 62 points, a bit higher than she expected. But unlike Leon's expectation, Noah frowned, looking very displeased with her test result. Seeing this, he keenly realized she was unhappy with her performance. That's understandable. This kid always sets very high standards for herself. Leon lowered his head, watching the girl staring intently at the mistakes on her test. He felt a little pity in his heart. At such a carefree age, just wanting to play, yet the girl insisted on wanting to study. To encourage her, he bent down, smiled gently, and stroked Noah's head, silently praising her. That scoring 62 points on her first try was very good. Noah blushed slightly from the praise and quickly replied, "Thank you, Dad." Hearing that and knowing her mood had improved, he was ready to continue teaching her. "Next, let's focus on the questions you got wrong." Leon frowned, rubbing his sore throat from eating some chili peppers last night to stay more alert. He quickly apologized to the girl. Sure enough, he ate too many chilies last night, and his throat was too itchy. Seeing his discomfort, Noah's mind flashed to an image of Joe Swisher smiling and confiding in her last night. "Your dad was planning some kind of study schedule. He gave you that silly name. He usually seems unreliable, but actually is a good student. But last night, because he stayed up late, he ate the extremely spicy yellow chili of the Long clan. It would be strange if his throat wasn't sore." Her mother's words echoed in her mind as if she fully understood them. The girl quietly took her bag, then held out a blue box to him, softly saying, "Here, Dad, take these." Yes, he took it, opened it, and discovered many medicine pills inside. He asked in surprise, "For me?" Noah obediently replied, "Yes. Mom gave them to you, not me." Leon happily took a pill and thanked her, then on behalf of Dad, "Thank your mom." In his head, he happily evaluated the resemblance between the mother and daughter. This kid is exactly like Joe Swisher. Outwardly cold, but actually just doesn't know how to show her kindness. While chewing the medicine, he regained his strength and raised his hand, shouting, "Let's continue studying." Noah responded with full determination, Yes. From then on, their father-daughter relationship became closer. In the kitchen of the Dragon Spirit Holy Hall, the table was filled with all kinds of tools for making medicine. At the entrance, footsteps kept coming and going. Two servants happily entered carrying various medicinal materials of different shapes and colors. One said to him, "Your Highness the Prince, all the medicines you ordered are here." He smiled and pointed to a tray on the table. Go. He smiled as he watched the servants leave the room, deliberately telling them to find a few more medicines they wouldn't need so they wouldn't guess what he was planning. Leon rested his chin on his hand, thoughtfully looking at the pile of medicinal materials on the table, thinking the ingredients for making Long Dai Li are easy to find. It looks like the preparation steps aren't too complicated either. But why does the book say that even the best alchemists of the Long clan have a very low chance of successfully making Long Dai Li? Elsewhere, Leon used his hands to stir the pestle and mortar to crush the medicine. While working, he said, "First crush the needed medicine, then put the medicine into the pot in order and cook it." As he spoke, he poured the crushed medicine into the pot and stirred it evenly. A few hours later, he looked at the 4 bottles of medicine in different colors on the table, painfully held his head, and shouted, "Ah, failed again. It's definitely not that simple." Leon took the purple bottle and shook it, then muttered to himself in frustration, "I've followed the method in the book several times already. Each time I failed at the filtering step." He looked at the 2 bottles in front of him that had been distilled. One had been refined into a blue crystal, and the other was a purple liquid. He examined the 2 bottles carefully. The book's high-temperature filtering method uses temperatures that are too high, which causes the medicine to lose its potency. If the temperature is too low, it can't refine the medicine into a pure form. Then Leon rubbed his wrist while shaking the purple bottle evenly, wondering to himself, shaking by hand alone can't achieve the filtering effect. Specialized machinery is needed. The master often said, "If this path doesn't work, then look for another way." Is there an effective way to filter out the dregs of the medicine? Outside, the sky had turned dark. Along with that, continuous thunder and lightning roared, making the atmosphere even more eerie. Leon leisurely leaned back in his chair, looking outside and wondering if there was thunder, maybe it would rain soon. Yeah, he was afraid the rain would come inside the room, so he carefully stepped forward to close the window. Suddenly, he looked up at the dark sky where continuous thunderclaps were striking down. He quietly murmured, "Thunder, thunder, thunder," and a new strange idea suddenly flashed in his mind. He also remembered what his teacher had told him before in the gold refining class. The teacher said that electrolysis of impurities sometimes had a higher success rate than using fire. Realizing his new direction, Leon quickly recovered his mood. He rushed back to his alchemy table, thinking maybe he could try using the thunder element that the book didn't mention to see if it could be refined. After all, I'm best at elemental magic for thunder. My mana has just barely recovered, but it's still enough to do this. As soon as he thought that, Leon used his power to generate strong thunder and lightning inside the bottom of the flask. The flask quickly produced strong reactions. Half an hour later, Leon succeeded. He held up the black pill in his hand and happily said it was a success. He happily put it into the small box in his hand, smiling proudly. Dragon Clan medicine is also easy to craft. Suddenly, a man appeared out of nowhere, looked up excitedly and asked him, "Dad, what are you doing?" He calmly replied that he was making something interesting, but then paused slightly, feeling that something was off. He looked at men happily looking up at him from below. Then he realized what was wrong. He panicked and shouted, men." Leon quickly closed the box in his hand tightly and bent down to pat her head to distract her, saying, "It's nothing, kid." How could he easily fool men? She had already seen the box and quickly asked, "Dad, are you holding candy?" He gently shook the box in his hand and answered her, "This it's medicine Dad made for Mom." Hearing that she worried about her mother and hurriedly asked, "Medicine for Mom. Is Mom sick?" Leon was afraid the kid would overthink or do something wrong, so he quickly patted her head and reassured her. Dad sees Mom has been working hard lately, so he made medicine to nourish her. Don't worry. Of course, he couldn't tell her the pill was actually made for himself to take. She trusted him and, worried about her mother, firmly pointed and reminded him, "Then Dad must take good care of Mom." He happily agreed and replied, "Of course it's what Dad should do." But in his mind, he thought differently. "Once I recover, I'll show her." Outside at night, the rain kept falling non-stop. The later it got, the heavier the rain became, accompanied by continuous thunder and lightning striking the black sky. In the lavish room, Leon sat on the bed, repeatedly flicking the medicine box in his hand, thinking non-stop. Although he had refined dragon strength, he wondered if the dragon clan's nutrients would have side effects on humans. Leon worried the medicine might not work as he hoped, so he clenched the box in his hand, deciding maybe he should just leave it be for now. Before he could finish his thought, a knock on the door caught his attention, and he saw Joe Swisher enter. Leon hurriedly hid the medicine box behind his back and shouted, "Your Majesty, why are you here?" Whisper folded her arms and smiled proudly, replying, "I heard from men that you made me a kind of medicine that tastes like chocolate to help condition my body." Leon glanced away, hesitating and unable to answer her while silently wondering why his plum wine bottle was leaking so fast. She didn't intend to trouble him, just gently stepped forward and said, "Don't worry, I'm not here to interrogate you. I'm just amazed you can refine medicine in such a poor environment." But Whisper couldn't hide her curiosity. She leaned down, held out her hand, and asked, "What did you refine? Can you show me?" Leon didn't intend to hide it and quietly placed the box in her hand. "Even if I said no, you'd just use force to snatch it anyway, right?" She opened the box, looked at the pill inside, and praised with satisfaction. Quite good. To refine perfect dragon strength under these conditions, you really are talented." How did Leon say that line again? Master of both literature and martial arts, right? Hearing those compliments, he was amazed and couldn't believe it, secretly thinking she must be joking with him. But suddenly, Whisper tightly closed the box in her hand and reminded him, "You can keep this, but you are not allowed to take this medicine." After saying that, she returned the medicine box to him. Seeing that he still didn't understand and asked her back, why? Whisper patiently explained it was a tonic for the Dragon Clan, and its effects on the human body were too strong. Leon couldn't believe it and asked again, "Is this medicine really that good?" The more she spoke, the colder her eyes became, seriously reminding him, "I'm kindly warning you humans like you can't handle its power." Leon, on the other hand, felt insulted, frowned, picked up the pill, and asked her back, "What about the dragon's power? I've defeated countless dragon kings. What can I handle with a tiny pill like this?" Rose whispered, "Don't underestimate me." As soon as she finished speaking, before she could react, Leon directly swallowed the pill and proudly responded with courage, the anthem for humans. Whisper was furious at such a challenge. "Leon, you really are, just as I said." The next moment, Leon felt something strange inside him, like something was triggered, making him lose control. That feeling was like something stabbing deep into him, causing him pain as he collapsed onto the bed, crying out. Seeing him react in pain, Whisper scolded, "You bastard. I don't usually use this kind of healing magic." Seeing his face darken as he clutched his chest, she anxiously placed her hand on him, and a purple magic circle appeared. She intended to use her magic. "Now how do you feel? Let me try to break down the medicine's effect to help you." Suddenly he cried out, "Ah!" Blue magic streams gradually appeared around him. Rose Weiser quickly stopped him. "Don't move, Leon." But he said, "No need for your help." More blue lightning appeared around him. Although in pain, he gritted his teeth to stop her. "Look closely, this is the Silver Dragon Queen. This is the courage and determination of humans." Outside, the rain fell heavier, but inside the mansion, a dazzling blue light shone, along with a surrounding rumbling sound. In the room, Leon Casmode screamed in pain repeatedly. His whole body continuously emitted electric sparks flying around. Rose Weiser was shocked, watching the electric shells he emitted, thinking using magic on his own body. What exactly is he doing? But because his body was tormented for so long, Leon's body finally became exhausted and couldn't endure anymore. She saw his consciousness becoming vague as he cried out, "Oh!" The electric currents immediately stopped. She saw him fall and quickly ran over to catch him, calling out his name loudly, "Leon." But Weiser quickly laid him down on the bed to rest. She still didn't forget to scold him, "What a crazy guy." Knowing there was no time to waste, she turned and said, "You wait here. I'll find the royal doctor to come." Leon, lying on the bed, gradually woke up, but his face was strangely flushed red. Suddenly, he reached out toward Weiser. That made her stunned and wide-eyed. What Leon grabbed wasn't her hand, but her tail. At that moment, he looked like an idiot, giggling and waving Weiser's tail. She felt uncomfortable with him holding her tail like that. She hurriedly asked him, "What's wrong with you?" "It must be the shock from using too much magic. Now you're like a different person." Leon shamelessly rubbed his cheek against her tail, acting coquettish. Hey, honey, where are you going?" Hearing those words, Weiser blushed embarrassedly, even getting goosebumps, and retorted, "Who said I'm your honey?" She knew he had problems, quickly pushing his face away from her tail. "Take your hand off me." But Leon still held on tight. A soft voice spoke up, "No, I won't let my honey go anywhere." Then he continued to rub his face on her tail with satisfaction, repeatedly calling, "Honey, honey." Roseweiser helplessly turned her head away, thinking maybe the great dragon power only makes the body strong. Maybe it won't cause this kind of mental confusion. Was it the elemental thunder magic that just changed the effect of the medicine? You look like you just want to cling to me, Leon Casmode said. She blushed and asked, but now he looks so silly, so there's probably no immediate danger to his life, right? Leon kept tightly holding her tail and called out, honey, 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 honey. Weiser couldn't move or do anything. She could only helplessly sit down and say, all right, here I am. Here I am. What should I say? Suddenly a pre-announcement. Leon, looking dazed, directly suggested to her, let's have another baby. Honey. Hearing those blatant words, she opened her eyes wide in shock and exclaimed, ah. Seeing she wouldn't listen, he acted like a 3-year-old, continuously holding her tail and rolling around the bed, whining, I want another one. She blushed even more watching that scene. She didn't understand why he was so shameless. She shouted loudly, no way, you haven't even taken care of the first 2 properly, and you want another one. Forget it. I'm afraid of attracting attention from outsiders. She could only helplessly hold her head and think, to avoid more trouble, it's better to just do as he says. Outside, the rain kept falling. Roseweiser could only agree with him. Okay, we won't just have one more, but several more. Leon Casmode, spoiled like this, demanded more. And you have to go back to the countryside with me too. She knew she couldn't refuse anymore and quickly agreed, go, go, go. Wait until we settle down, then we'll go. At this moment, he was like a child given candy. Happily, he raised both hands, cheering, great. Only Weiser beside him wasn't as cheerful. This guy is even more annoying when he's acting spoiled. Just as she was thinking what to do next, suddenly he pressed his face close to hers and puckered his lips like he was about to kiss her. He said without hesitation, honey, you're so good. Buy it. She was terrified by that and hastily grabbed Leon's face and pulled away, yelling, just a little at a time. In her mind, she kept panicking. When will this medicine wear off? She couldn't even hold back her anger and punched him straight in the mouth, shouting, you idiot. Leon's face immediately darkened after being hit. He cried out in pain, ouch, and collapsed onto the bed. Roseweiser only then realized her unconscious action. She panicked, thinking, I couldn't hold back, and struck him. Then she scaredly shook him. Afraid something happened to Leon, she hurriedly asked, are you okay? Leon Casmode's whole body suddenly trembled, as if he had fire inside, breathing out each breath with difficulty. His face involuntarily flushed. He quickly told her, honey, I feel a little uncomfortable. Immediately, a familiar purple mark appeared on her chest. Roseweiser panicked, thinking, this isn't good. She quickly lifted his shirt. A purple mark also appeared there. She couldn't believe what was happening before her eyes. Why did Longvan activate now? But before she could react, not knowing where Leon suddenly got a surge of strength, he grabbed her shoulder and pushed her down onto the bed. She panicked and asked him, Leon, you bastard, what are you planning to do? Leon held her hand tightly. His voice was whining, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Honey? Leon's face grew redder and redder, breathing heavily as he said, my whole body is hot. Hot. My chest itches. It itches. Roseweiser looked at the person in front of her. Combined with the resonance from the mark, her whole body also heated up. Her face flushed deeply, unable to help but blush. Longvan, mixed with the thunder element, made his body's desire stronger than before. He wasn't even embarrassed to grab her tail, smelling it and saying, honey's tail smells so good, I really like your tail. Watching this scene, she got even more frightened. If this keeps up, he'll get me again. But Roseweiser knew she couldn't let Leon continue like this. She hurriedly grabbed his face and pushed him away, shouting, my tail drags on the ground all day. Don't you think it's dirty putting it in your mouth? Get up for me now. Just as she was about to say more, Leon, with a lustful expression, looked at the person beneath him and couldn't help but praise her. Melky, you look beautiful tonight. She was so surprised by the compliment that the pink on her face deepened, and she quickly glanced away. Even though you say that, what are you constantly thinking about in your head? The attitude of this man is completely different from before. The brutal appearance and the irresistible madness. Although thinking that way, Weiser couldn't help but glance at the man in front of her, wondering why she felt a bit hopeful. Leon, knowing she was starting to feel the same way as him, smiled slyly and asked her, wife, you can help me, right? Of course, she had successfully been convinced by him. Her face flushed with embarrassment as she glanced away, but still replied, okay. So just tonight, then the two gradually fell into a spring scene. Her whole body trembled in waves, even unable to hold back, moaning softly. Early the next morning, outside the white, luxurious mansion, gentle sunlight shone everywhere. Leon Casmode slowly woke up. He softly made a sound as his eyes opened and saw Joe Swisher covered with only a piece of cloth, and he himself was the same. Seeing him look at her in surprise, she smirked proudly and asked, "You're awake?" Like seeing a ghost, he immediately sat straight up, goosebumps all over, shouting, "Ah, why are you here?" At this moment, Leon felt soreness all over, frowned, touched every muscle, and complained, "My whole body hurts." Not understanding what happened, he hurriedly asked her, "I don't remember anything. What exactly happened last night?" Seeing he didn't remember, she slowly put her feet down from the bed. Calmly, she asked back, "You forgot everything." But she still proudly turned her head and smiled and reminded him, "You shouldn't forget this fake dragon." Leon noticed the red marks on Weiser's body and was shocked, thinking, "Are these hickeys from me?" His head suddenly ached. Then images from last night flashed in his mind. From her being clingy to constantly holding his tail, she even shamelessly begged him to do everything, like a tape rewinding in his head, as if waking from a nightmare. He held his head in pain and shouted, "Oh no!" She saw his reaction and looked like she was enjoying the show. The smile in her eyes deepened as she reminded him, "Let me know if you remember. Last night you were the one who asked me to do it with you." Rose Weiser slowly repeated every word he said to Leon affectionately. "Ah, can we do it one last time, wife? I'm uncomfortable. Please help me, this one last time." Leon Casmode tried to cover his ears. His whole body trembled as he gritted his teeth, unwilling to accept the truth. Even as she was about to say, "Wife you," he quickly raised his hand to stop her. "Stop, no need to say it again. I remember everything now." He hurriedly grabbed his clothes and put them on. Meanwhile, he didn't forget to speculate. "I originally made Dragon's Great Force just to nourish my body and to teach Joe Swisher a lesson, but I didn't expect the effect to be this strong." Leon still cared about Weiser and asked, "Hon, I admit I was a bit rough last night. Did I hurt you?" She seemed used to it and didn't feel much pain. She calmly dressed and replied, "It's okay." Hearing this, he crossed his arms proudly and said, "Now you must be sure my body is fine, right? Next time, don't say I can't do it anymore." She felt irritated by those words. Her deep gray eyes narrowed. She immediately rushed to his side, looking very annoyed. Seeing her come to him, Leon was surprised. "What's wrong? What's the matter?" She wasn't angry about what he said. On the contrary, she was very confident. Lifting his face as if catching prey, she said, "Your performance last night pleased me very much, fake dragon. I hope you can maintain this state forever." Leon couldn't believe what he heard and was shocked, eyes wide open. "Really? Have I become a service industry worker?" But suddenly she crossed her arms and brought up another matter. Right about the bet to change forms of address earlier. Mentioning that, Joe Swisher blushed and looked away, asking him, "You won? Have you thought about your demand yet?" Leon awkwardly scratched his head and hesitated, replying, I've thought about it. I don't know if my request will be accepted, so I can only look at you sadly. Can you send someone to the Empire to visit my master and mistress?" Both Weisers lowered their faces and examined Leon's words. But for her, it wasn't a big deal, so she agreed. "Our Silver Dragon clan isn't very good at infiltration, but if it's just visiting someone, it shouldn't be a problem." He felt happier as his request was approved. "Really? Then thank you." Realizing she acted a bit too much, she quickly calmed down, just coughing lightly before seriously replying, "Sorry to trouble you." Elsewhere, in a lush garden with wreaths and carefully tended bushes and flowers blooming brightly under the best care. That was the Silver Dragon Holy Temple Garden. In a corner of the garden, Leon Cassius sat dejectedly on a bench, sighing. Next to him, a little girl saw him like that and worriedly asked, "Dad, are you sick?" He was afraid his appearance would worry her, so he quickly straightened up and smiled, asking her, "No, I'm fine." She asked again, "Then why Dad?" Confidently, she raised her two little fingers and told him, "Mom already told me the medicine Dad took last night was by himself. Dad is a man men don't say they're sick." Leon couldn't help but silently scold in his head. Why say that at the child's innocent words? She's a dragon daughter. Why say this in front of a child? I don't need any pride left. Probably Moen still didn't realize every word was hitting his embarrassment, so she still asked freely, "Dad, are you still not feeling well because the medicine's effect isn't enough? Or did you take too little?" Hearing each word, he got so angry he felt like spitting blood and quickly stopped her. Moen, it's rude to keep asking. Seeing blood at the corner of his mouth, she panicked and gasped, Dad is bleeding, Dad. She didn't understand what happened, only feared he would leave her, so she rushed over, hugged him tightly and pleaded, Dad, Mion can't live without you. Please don't die. Boo-hoo-hoo. Leon Cassius hurriedly patted her head to comfort her. Dad's fine, really, Dad's healthy. But seeing Mion's blunt way of speaking, he couldn't help but think, no wonder she's Joe Swisher's daughter. She has quite a few similarities to her. Then he bent down to play with her happily suggesting, Today Dad will make you a new toy, okay? The little girl heard that and got excited. A toy? Yes, Mion loves toys the most. Then he got to work making the toy for her, which was a Rubik's Cube he carefully put together, finishing coloring the last square. Leon excitedly showed his daughter, ta-da. This toy is called a Rubik's Cube. You can twist it any way you want. Try it out. Mion, seeing the new toy in his hands, immediately rushed forward. Yes. Seeing her eyes sparkle looking at the toy. He couldn't help but think back when I studied metallurgy and machinery at school, learning some basic assembly principles. I didn't expect to use them today watching my daughter play. Could it be I was born with expertise in childcare? Suddenly he felt like an AI was staring at him, an uneasy feeling rising. Leon Cassius quickly turned his head toward the entrance in the distance. Seeing him tense like that, Mion asked quickly, Dad, what's wrong? He didn't see any sign of the AI, but it answered her, nothing, it's nothing. Yet deep inside, he sensed a familiar energy and guessed just now he felt the dragon's gaze over there. It's where Noah trains physically. What Leon also found the girl strange and couldn't help but think, but today that child won't take the initiative to play with me anymore. Thinking that, he looked toward the wood blocks and tools on the distant table enough to make another one as a gift for Noah. At night, the room door slowly opened. After a long day of training, Noah came in and saw Mion sleeping soundly on the bed. She slowly approached the desk in the room and saw a Rubik's Cube placed there with a note left by Leon underneath. But Noah coldly picked up the Rubik's Cube and couldn't help but criticize, It's silly, I have no interest in this toy. Still, she couldn't resist playing with the cube for a bit. After all, Noah was still a little girl who couldn't resist playing with a new toy. Her eyes lit up brightly, her face flushed with excitement, silently thanking him. Thank you. Thank you, Dad. Next was Noah's treasure chest segment. In the following days, Mion noticed her sister sneaking around doing something behind her back. So she also started secretly watching, only to see Noah hiding something under the bed. She couldn't help but think, recently my sister's been acting strange, often hiding things from Mion in the box under the bed. With her curious nature, she disguised herself as a detective, determined to find out what that item was. The child excitedly pulled back the curtain, eyes fixed on the box under the bed, thinking, Today, while sister isn't here, let's see what's inside Detective Mion on the case. The child opened the box to find a few familiar items, a Rubik's Cube gifted by Leon, a name tag written by Leon, and a crack that fell from Leon's black metal battle car. Seeing those items, Mion quickly realized they all seemed related to Dad. The child felt like a great detective, praising himself nonstop. Humph, Mion understands, really, sister. Before finishing the sentence, he noticed a piercing glare from behind staring at him. Moments later, Noah quietly turned and left with the precious box in her hands. The girl gently reminded her younger sibling not to peek. Meanwhile, poor man was tied up at the back mouth, gagged and taped, struggling and letting out a few cries. The Asura Academy is an academy for nobles of the Dragon Clan with strict student admission standards where family plays an important role in the qualification exam. True to its reputation, the academy's badge featuring a dragon in the center and 2 laurel wreaths on the sides immediately conveyed prestige. The Azure Breath Academy believes that whether reproduction is asexual or normal, only families living in harmonious love and respecting Dragon Clan philosophy can nurture qualified dragon children, and the Academy only accepts such students. The standard implies the ideal image of a happy family together, so to create the phenomenon of harmonious and compassionate Dragon Clan families, the acting Silver Dragon Queen decided to take the family on a trip to take family photos at the Celestial City. At this moment, Joe Swisher transformed into a dragon, spreading his wings wide and carrying the whole family toward the magnificent city ahead. The landscape was truly picturesque, and many Dragon Clan families were also bringing their children there. She folded her silver-white gown to land the force, disturbing the air, and sending white dust swirling across the sky. Noah and Mayon were as cute as little dough balls, eyes squinting and laughter sliding down from their mother's body with arms and legs stretched out. Leon Cassius stretched out his arms to catch the child. "Slow down, Dad will carry you down." Noah, acting like the big sister going down first, looked small but mature, and a flow of aura appeared as he looked at the two father and child in the open space. Leon caught Mayon, whose eyes shone with innocent excitement, as he asked his dad, "Dad? Dad, why didn't you turn into a dragon just now?" Mayon wants to see Dad transform into a dragon. Hearing this, Leon broke into a sweat, smiling awkwardly, ha ha ha, inwardly distressed. "Good daughter killing dragons. I'm very skilled, but transforming into a dragon. Forget it." However, this expression couldn't hide Noah's sharp eyes. She immediately saw through it and bluntly exposed him, leaving him stiff. "You just can't transform, huh?" He instantly panicked, trying to laugh it off in front of young Noah, while anxiously turning to Weiser for help. Weiser gently explained to her two daughters, "Your father hasn't fully recovered yet, so he can't transform into his ancient dragon form for now. Once he recovers, he'll transform for you to see." Innocently, the child believed her words, worriedly clasping her hands, furrowing her brows pitifully. Then Dad must get well quickly. Encouraged, Leon felt relieved. Dad would try his best, though inwardly resisting was impossible. After a moment of awkwardness, the whole family held hands and walked on. "All right, let's hurry into the city. There's something to do today." The city gate here was intricately carved, towering high, bustling with people coming and going outside. A cute little man looked around with wide, clear eyes at the fun ahead. "Wow, look, sister, so many dragons." Noah walked leisurely behind with a mature air, sounding like an adult warning. "Slow down, don't go too fast." The image of the two playful girls caught everyone's attention. Following behind the children, Leon suddenly began trembling uncontrollably. Weiser noticed his unusual shaking and couldn't help but wonder, why is this guy trembling like that? It made sense. This was probably the first time since waking from his coma that he'd seen so many dragons. Though worried inside, she put on a mischievous smirk, teasing him. "What's wrong, scared now? Body having trouble?" Leon forced a smile, pretending it was nothing, bantering back, "What fear? This is excitement, all right." He looked at the crowd ahead, young and old, male and female, and confidently said, first class merit, second class merit. A road full of achievements, about to get rich, all right. After speaking, Leon laughed brightly and walked away with excitement, very different from his previous demeanor. Ha ha ha, bringing them back could be worth quite a bit of money. Weiser found this childish attitude somewhat less annoying and remained silent. "It's none of my business if it's crowded. He's more than enough already." Moments later, a small bell jingled above as the door opened. Selena and the staff member carefully bowed and warmly greeted the guest of honor. "Welcome, dear customer. Queen Silver Dragon, Your Majesty. It's an honor to serve your family." Led by the staff member, the two little girls happily pulled each other ahead. "Sister, look, there are so many dragon pictures." "Uh-huh." When they met some parents, they leisurely followed behind, admiring the shop's displays. Leon whispered in confusion, "Isn't she called the Silver Dragon Queen? Why is she coming here in person to take pictures then?" Weiser seemed displeased and furrowed his brow as he explained quietly, "The Dragon King clans can only command their own tribes, but these are dragons of the Celestial City, not belonging to any clan." Hearing this, Leon brightened and teasingly said, "Then your queen status is a bit low, huh?" But he immediately regretted it when Weiser kicked him hard. Despite clutching his leg in pain, Leon gasped while Weiser angrily walked away, not forgetting to retort, "At least it's higher than yours." Selena calmly and politely said, "It is our small shop's honor to photograph the family of the Silver Dragon Queen." Weiser, understanding the subtlety, gently complimented back, "Everyone says teacher Selena has the best photography skills in the Dragon Clan. Being able to book her is a blessing for our family." Then Selena looked at Leon with curiosity. "Your Majesty, the tail of your husband is fortunate." She calmly searched for a reasonable excuse. "He doesn't like to show his tail, so I chose a tail-less style vest for him." Weiser finished speaking. Leon felt a bit uneasy. Previously, he had tried to give Leon a fake dragon tail vest, but he recalled Leon stubbornly refusing. "Don't even think about it, I won't wear this. It's about my dignity." She didn't press further and led the whole family into the fitting room. "I understand, Your Majesty. please come this way to try on clothes. The youngest daughter's mouth was constantly eager to wear a pretty dress. After a while, the two sisters stepped out, one looking mature and elegant, the other dazzling and playful, a truly sweet pair. Leon also pulled back the curtain and stepped out in a crisp white suit, his hair slicked back, showing a serious and dignified demeanor. The little daughter's eyes sparkled as she quickly praised, "Wow, Dad, you're so handsome." Selena was also quite impressed, looking at him. The prince really suits this suit. He must have been very popular before. Leon was satisfied and reminisced, "Really? The last time I wore a suit was at my graduation ceremony." Yes. He happily adjusted his jacket and asked the elder daughter, Noah, "How do you like it?" The little girl shyly blushed and quietly praised, "Daddy, yes, very handsome like that." Leon was extremely excited and petted his two darlings' heads. Their dresses are also very cute. At the same time, Weiser drew the curtain wearing a black-purple dress that highlighted her graceful yet mysterious beauty, her snow-white skin and exquisite figure further emphasized by the seductive design of the dress. The daughter's eyes widened. "Mom, you're so beautiful." In that moment, Leon couldn't hold back his admiration, staring so intently his cheeks turned pink. But when she asked why, he embarrassedly scratched his head, avoiding eye contact. "It really suits you." Weiser suddenly felt shy and looked away. "I think it would be better if you had a tail too." Still, Leon firmly refused. "I'll never wear a tail in this life." Meanwhile, the two girls eagerly shouted, "Mom, Dad, come here quickly." Selena's gentle eyes smiled as she said, "Get ready for the photo, Your Majesty Queen." "Prince, please stand closer together." Yet the young couple still shyly acted reluctant to look at each other. No way. Finally, the family of four seriously looked into the camera. Following the photographer's prompt, Smile 3, 2, 1, the result was many happy family photos. Two adorable plum wine bottles and the young couple, sometimes shy, sometimes playfully bickering. Selena smiled and said, "You really look like a couple." Flashback to Leon's graduation time. Many beautiful girls surrounded and flirted with him, trapping Leon. "Senior Leon, can I take a picture with you? Can I have dinner with you? Please accept this gift." But his mind was only on the donkey at home. Expressionless, he refused. "No, I have to go home to shoe my uncle's donkey. Maybe next time." Leon walked away, breaking the hearts of the girls. "Goodbye, hey, this 70-year-old uncle has never seen this scene before. If it were you, would this kid's head be tricked into kicking or not?" After taking the photo, they went to the festival's city center. The photo development takes about 6 hours. During this time, can Her Majesty the Queen take a walk in the city? Leon and Noah went ahead. Men was watched over by Weiser, who even turned back to wave goodbye to the shop owner. Of course, Men didn't sit still. She grabbed Noah's hand and ran forward. "Sis, let's go over there and see." Behind Rose, Weiser and Leon Cassius quietly followed. He started the conversation, first never expecting he could stroll with her one day. "It's truly magical." She calmly said, "This is all to protect our family's image." Noah takes this entrance exam very seriously. "You all have worked hard on this for nearly a month. Sometimes relaxing a bit isn't bad either." Over there, Men's eyes sparkled like stars when she saw two stuffed bears at the shooting booth. The two parents immediately noticed and understood the situation. Noah tried and failed. Men looked disappointed too. The seller pretended to comfort them. "Too bad, kiddo, try a few more times and you'll definitely hit one." "Oh, there's a shooting game here too." Leon was surprised. Seeing a savior arrive, he said, "Dad." Noah was still disappointed about missing. Puffed her cheeks in sulkiness, muttering, "Missing makes him laugh helplessly. Doesn't that make sense? In this game, if you don't hit the owner, makes money." But Weiser, holding two toy guns, commented, "The bullets in these toy guns are powered by magical energy. Also, it requires certain skills to control the magical energy precisely. For Noah, it's indeed a bit difficult." She puffed her cheeks and handed the toy to Leon, who suddenly remembered seeing others play this at the human market before. The shop owner rubbed his hands and invited them. "Come try it. If you hit all the balloons in 10 shots, you can get a doll." They seemed very eager for it. Though he spoke sweetly, his mind schemed differently. "I purposely let kids try to attract their parents to get hooked." Leon looked down at his two plum wines. "Kids, do you want that stuffed bear?" Noah shook her head, cheeks rosy. "No, I don't want it." Menon said the same. I don't want it either." Finally, he understood the concept of saying yes means no meaning. They want it, but have plenty of confidence. Leon Cassius pointed to Joe Swisher beside the owner. "Give me 10 rounds." She handed over the money. Feeling he caught them, the owner laughed happily. "Hee, all right. Shoot the boss for some money." He said, "Thank you." Leon raised the gun. Haven't held a gun in a while. Last time was at the Dragon Academy. The gun fired 2 shots that hit the ground. Unsurprisingly, no hits. Sensing the problem, Leon stared at it intently. The shop owner arrogantly boasted, I rigged the gun a bit. No one can easily dodge to hit the target. Life isn't a dream, what he seemed about to shout when Leon's second shot blasted 5 balloons in a row, spinning the gun like a trophy. Leon said, the first shot wasn't very accurate. Didn't expect the following shots to all hit, not bad luck. The owner was stunned. How is that possible? Not bad, even Wiser had to praise the stepdad. Men was obviously impressed. Dad, you're amazing. Noah was just as impressive, not afraid of being exposed. The owner held out the 2 stuffed bears. Truly impressive, here's your reward. In his heart, he wanted to curse, take it, and scram. Leon happily took the toys. Thank you, boss, for the kids. He handed them to the 2 children. Thank you, Dad, Mai said. Thank you, Noah, she added. Seeing that scene, Wiser was also surprised. This kid is usually a bit dull, but whenever he's serious, he has a special charm. Suddenly, Leon looked up at her, making Wiser a bit startled. Why is he looking at me like that? Time passed, a child pointed at Rose and Wiser, and her child also wanted that. She was struggling to hold a stuffed bear almost as big as herself, probably a gift from Leon. Beside him, he arrogantly said, Did he see that scoundrel's displeased face? Extremely displeased. Leon laughed out loud, recalling when he paid extra to shoot 10 more times, making the owner turn pale. She retorted sharply, By habit, if it were me, I'd just advise the kids not to waste time on such childish games. He countered, We came to play. As long as the kids are happy, isn't that enough? Why you don't like it? Leon asked curiously, while Wiser pretended to be cold. I said it's unnecessary. He coaxed, You came all this way. You can't leave empty-handed. Hearing such sweet words made Joe Wiser blush. Living creatures like bears are tough to eat, barely enough to fill the stomach. But as toys, they're quite cute. Wiser turned abruptly and ordered Leon, After dinner tonight, come to my room to find me. Hearing this, he shouted loudly enough for the whole square to hear, What? Late night had come at the castle. Leon walked down the hallway, heart heavy with pain. Rose Wiser invited him to her room. A midnight visit to her room by a southern dragon surely meant something was about to happen. He recalled if he left upset, he'd be uncomfortable for a night. If he stayed uncomfortable for a week, and so on. Leon grumbled as he approached her room. Damn it, I'm taking a risk with her. Just as he was about to knock, he noticed a faint light slipping through. The door wasn't locked. Like a fly, he slipped inside to look around. The room was empty. Hearing running water, Leon guessed the situation. He arrived early and she was still bathing. Through the glass, he clearly saw Wiser's back. He thought briefly, the quality of this glass doesn't seem very good. I might look as old as an eggplant. Leon panicked. Tonight, she really intends to do that. He had to calm himself, shaking his head to regain composure. Before Leon could figure out an escape plan, the bathroom door swung open. Rose Wiser wore a purple nightgown that showed off every curve. She spoke, You're here already. Shall we start? You know you can't escape the dragon's claws. Leon asked, For real? Am I about to be drained dry? The next morning, photos from the festival were sent back. Men praised the parents make such a perfect match. He saw a handwritten note on the photos. This photo even had a card attached. She said, What's this? Let me see. Both read the text. It seemed to be a poem wishing that the dazzling silver light would forever shine on the beloved in their eyes. Hearing this, they both embarrassedly stepped back from each other, saying in unison, Who wants to be his lover anyway? Wiser picked up the photo and turned away. Definitely something was wrong. Give me this photo to handle. Leon also placed his hand behind his neck calmly. Yes, it's definitely written wrong. The warm yellow light made the view before their eyes even more dreamy. Facing Leon Cassius was Wiser's beautiful face, like a sand sculpture wearing a nightgown that made her body alluringly visible, almost completely exposed. She casually asked him where he wanted to do it, the living room or the balcony. Hearing those last 2 words, Leon looked away to observe her whole figure stiffening and stammering, unable to speak, forcing a weak smile. The balcony is not very good if others see it be embarrassing. Rose Wiser turned her back to admire her perfect beauty, holding up a roll of paper. Her tone, different, less emotional, decided than the living room. Anywhere is basically the same. Leon bowed his head, exhaling deeply as if bracing himself. 2 seconds later, he shut his eyes tightly, not daring to open them, furrowing his brows in fear, shouting loudly, as if uttering a final word before the execution. Then let's do it. Leon let his arms and legs drop limply. his face full of indescribable misery and pain, no different than a chicken thrown on the chopping block. Oh, Weiser turned and saw this confusing scene. What are you doing? He opened his eyes wide in surprise, cheeks flushed red for no reason. Huh? Weren't you the one who wanted to do that? Weiser smirked, clearly pleased with his pleading attitude, but still refused. Lord Cast Mode, you seem dissatisfied with your desires, but not tonight, another day. Leon felt so embarrassed he was about to earn a regional penalty. He hurriedly sat up, cleared his throat to pretend calm, and asked her about the paper on the table, coughing. What is this? As she explained, he carefully examined the paper. This is a previous entrance exam from Blue Academy for families with children, including questions about habits, personality experiences, different from the teasing attitude earlier. Rose Weiser returned with a serious and careful demeanor, reminding her husband to be, we need to match the answers beforehand to avoid any issues signing later that could affect Noah's admission evaluation. Hearing that Leon also focused on reading the densely filled test sheet, even confidently, saying there are 8 parts. Aren't these all just boring questions in a couple's compatibility test? To practice, he turned to ask, hey, what's your favorite color? She answered black, and you said silver. Suddenly, the atmosphere became awkward. The two silently looked at each other for a few seconds, then coldly turned away. But everyone's faces were as red as a ripe gack fruit. Just a coincidence, nothing more. Returning to the main issue, holding the plum wine bottle, Weiser tried to look calm and decisively said, in short, let's test how well we understand each other first. Leon naturally agreed, sure, why not? So each took a side to work alone. After an unknown amount of time, the candles still flickered, lighting and warming the room. Finally, Leon finished first. I fixed mine quickly, then we checked each other's results. Riding the momentum, he laughed heartily. Ha ha, my score is even higher than yours. Looks like I understand Her Majesty the Queen better after all. Weiser wasn't pleased and grumbled with a displeased look, frowning thoughtfully, but secretly conceding to him. Unexpectedly, he even noticed things like how she liked to sit where she placed her tail for comfort. He was quite observant in his usual careful way. Weiser sat contemplating the answers marked in red ink, all the mistakes being questions that guessed her own views. Her face looked cold and distant, though her heart was the opposite. She always kept everything inside without telling others. It was normal for him to guess wrong, but Weiser gently looked at the man focused ahead, and a special feeling suddenly surged in her heart. Perhaps with him, she could be herself. However, in Leon's eyes, her face had been scowling all along. She had been staring at him because he scored higher. Was she holding a grudge? He smiled warmly, unbothered by the closeness that brushed her shoulder, making Weiser surprised. Ha ha ha, our time together is short, so not getting a high score is normal. His gaze then softened greatly as he encouraged her. For Noah's sake, try to understand me better. White's heart raced. Maybe this moment of emotion flushed her whole face red. Trying to stay calm, she slightly bowed her head, showing annoyance, scolding playfully. Enough nonsense. Hurry up and write your correct answers down. She slapped the entire stack of papers, making Leon stunned. Oh, after all this arguing, are you sure you didn't write any wrong answers? Have you ever been disappointed in me? Weiser honestly replied, never. If I had to say last time you practiced too little long die look. Hearing this, Leon loudly boasted, from now on I'll drink long die look like water. Don't regret it. I'm really looking forward to tonight before enrollment. Leon was satisfied and evaluated the test sheet. Not bad. After a week of hard work, our average score reached 80 points. If we keep it up, the family exam won't be a problem. Weiser was exhausted, even collapsed. Everything's done. He grabbed the test papers enthusiastically. If that's all, I'm heading back to my room. Suddenly, she grabbed his shirt corner. Wait a moment, huh? Weiser coldly pointed inside the bathroom. There's a bathtub in there. Go take a bath, then come back. Leon felt a bit awkward and shy, asking, take a bath in your room. Without giving him a chance to refuse, she insisted, pushing him. If I say go take a bath, then go. Hurry up. The door shut behind him. Leon took off his shirt, revealing a muscular body with a full chest. He wondered why she suddenly insisted on bathing here. Did she have some ulterior motive? He sighed wearily, but thought she's been stressed about the enrollment test these past few days. Probably nothing wrong. Sitting in the bathtub, soaking in hot water, until his face turned red, Leon laughed joyfully, deciding to enjoy the moment. Relaxing completely made him feel even more comfortable. Oh, this feels great. Behind the door, a slender yet full figure appeared. Weiser was dressed only in a white towel. Calmly stepping in, Leon couldn't believe it was Rose Weiser. She gently brushed her bangs with a sultry, ambiguous tone. These past few days have been stressful. I want your eyes to darken heavy with fate. What's meant to come will come. Poor men. Leon protested. Your stress is your business. Why put pressure on me? Wiser, she winked, drawing him in. If I pass the pressure to you, then I'm free, aren't I? Then boldly, she removed the thin towel, completely leaving Leon no escape. The marks on both their bodies gradually became visible. Besides, didn't you come here a few days ago with this intention? To refuse the proper test, right? Of course he agreed. Bum, encouraged, Wiser immediately pressed her body tightly against his. The dragon tail wagged behind her seductive eyes, very satisfied with the cooperation, whispering into Leon's ear. You can't run anymore, Leon, just surrender. At the Green Hit Academy on the day of the entrance exam, a grand and magnificent scene appeared before them. Leon Cassius and Joe Swisher brought their daughter Noah Melk to the academy to participate in the entrance exam. Leon looked around in amazement and exclaimed, Wow, is this really Green Hit Academy? He glanced at Weiser's tense expression and couldn't help but tease her closely. What's wrong? Did last night's stress relief wear off so fast? His words made her blush deeply from embarrassment. Weiser shyly tapped Leon's shoulder and whispered, Go to hell. He just laughed loudly in response. Ha ha, come on. Everyone entered together to register. The staff there looked at the daughter's file and read aloud, Noah Melqui, Silver Dragon Clan, 1 year and 3 months old. She was surprised by the child's age because she seemed very young. Leon looked puzzled and asked, Is there a problem? The staff quickly explained, No, I'm just surprised. She smiled and continued, Although the academy requires dragonlings to be at least 1 year old to enroll in reality, most students are between 4 and 6 years old. Is your princess a bit too young then? Rose Weiser replied firmly, Noah is very smart. Age is not an issue. We also respect her opinion. Hearing Rose Weiser, the staff agreed to let it pass. She gestured toward the other parents gathering and said, I understand. Please come inside. Shortly, an officer will escort the child to the written test. Parents accompanying their children need to go to the 4th floor to participate in the family test. On the 4th floor reception room in a luxurious space, a tense examination was underway. Leon and Weiser sat opposite 3 elderly judges. She smiled, holding Leon's arm, and whispered to him, With your experience, do you think those 3 are easy to handle? Leon observed them and gave a brief evaluation. Looks manageable. Before you caught me prisoner, I could have beaten them for 50 rounds. As he spoke, his fighting spirit flared. If they dare stop Noah from studying, I'll come at them with a knife. Seeing his fierce expression, they all thought, This parent looks serious. The old man in the middle introduced himself. I am Von Wisdom, Vice Principal of Green Hit Academy. Today I will oversee the examination. Parents, don't worry, just to answer my questions comfortably. Leon and Weiser forced smiles. She smiled back. All right, Principal. But inside she was uneasy. This old man looks complicated. He won't ask any strange questions, will he? Von Wilson held a paper and started asking, Do you remember your wedding anniversary date? Hearing this, both understood and glanced at each other, guessing the question he would ask. Sure enough, that question came. Recalling the past, they sat on the bed surrounded by scattered documents. Weiser said, If asked about our anniversary, what should we say? We aren't officially married yet. It's like eating before the bell. Leon sat cross-legged, arms crossed, replying, If we talk about a memorable day, it has to be that day. She thoughtfully said it was March 17th on the solar calendar. The answer was already decided. Both Leon and Weiser answered in unison, May 25th. He thought silently that was the day he and Rose Weiser united in the dungeon. The man stroked his beard and said, Married less than 2 years and your child is already 1 year old. That's faster than a normal family. Leon laughed and replied, Ha ha. We fell in love at first sight. Our relationship is strong, so we married quickly and had a baby fast. Then the man asked, In your 2 years of marriage, have you found any flaws or bad points in each other? But at this point, the two answered differently. Leon said yes, Weiser said no. This surprised the man. He thought the answer should be half true, half false to be credible. He asked curiously, Tell me. Leon placed his hand over his chest and explained, Sometimes I feel like I don't exist. Then he smiled brightly, eyes sparkling, and continued, My wife is so talented, whether it's workhouse chores or taking care of the child, she handles it very well. After hearing this, she seemed like she wanted to shy away from him. Then Leon grabbed her hand, looked at her affectionately, and continued. But she gets stressed easily, so I want to take this interview chance to tell her I want to do some things for this family too. Just rely on me. Weiser shyly cooperated with him. Inside, he thought differently. Later, don't squeeze me dry at the slightest pressure. Mrs. Selena, sitting next to the principal, said, Victia, truly a good husband, a thoughtful one. Joe Swisher, what is it about your husband that attracts you the most? White-faced Blush turned his face away and shyly said, handsome, well-built, loyal, serious, smart, not cheesy, responsible. Likes kids, not foul-tempered. Although his body is no longer as strong as before marriage, it's nothing serious. My husband also knows how to prepare medicine. He knows how to use various remedies to nourish the body. Hearing her words, Leon awkwardly thought, is she praising me or mocking me? Then she imitated his way, directly took his hand and said with a determined eyes, so I also want to take this interview opportunity to tell my husband not to push himself too hard. After saying that, she didn't forget to squeeze Leon's hand tightly, almost making him want to shout. Seeing this, all three judges were satisfied and shared the same thought, truly a loving couple. After that, their conversation continued smoothly until the end of the interview. The last judge asked the final question. So at the end of the interview, do you have anything you want to ask each other? This is an extra question. The person asked does not have to answer truthfully. Weiser shook his head and replied, I have nothing to ask. I understand everything about my husband. The judge asked him, what about you, Mr. Leon? She turned to look at him, silently urging, talk longer, say something foolish. Hurry and finish the test. Meanwhile, Leon was still thinking deeply about the judge's question. Then he glanced at her and asked, you like the toy I gave you, right? That surprised her and made her blush. She thought, why ask a question now that's unrelated to identity stance or grudges? His thoughts always surprise others. And Weiser shyly tucked his hair behind his ear and hesitated before saying, I really like it. Leon clapped enthusiastically and said, all right, I have no more questions. Then he stood up and shook hands with the principal, saying, so the interview ends here. The results will be sent to the Silver Dragon Holy Temple by the messenger dragon in a few days. Once again, thank you both for your cooperation. A few days later, the sky was blue clouds, white and sun bright. A few days later, the messenger dragon flew to perch on the window. On its back was a bamboo tube containing a letter. Men excitedly said, Sister, the messenger dragon has arrived. Lion nervously took the bamboo tube and pulled out the letter. Everyone gathered around him, also anxious to see. Hurry, open it. Inside the letter was, Dear Noah Melk, congratulations on passing our school's exam. We invite you to enroll in the school 3 days from now. The four of them huddled together to read the letter's contents. Leon and Weiser said in unison, Enrollment, enrollment. Noah exclaimed in surprise, I passed. Even Men was excited. Along with everyone, Men happily hugged her sister. You're so great and so are Mom and Dad. That made both of them smile happily. No, Weiser, thank you, thank you. Leon snorted and said, Why thank me? It mainly depends on yourself. Noah is truly my daughter. She turned around happily and said, Tonight we'll have a party to celebrate you. Remember not to say you don't feel like you exist in this house again. Leon smiled, showing his teeth, and said, All right then, I realize you're so petty and hold grudges. A few days later, the enrollment ceremony at Greenhay Academy took place. Winston presented to everyone below, Congratulations to those who passed the survey. Welcome to the enrollment ceremony of Greenhay Academy. The crowd below eagerly listened to his endless speech. He continued to explain, Among the new students, many have outstanding academic achievements. We believe only harmonious families can nurture such excellent students. Taking this opportunity, we would like to invite some families to share their experiences with everyone. Now please welcome the top performing student Noah Melk and her family to the stage. Mai, sitting below, clenched his fists excitedly and said, Wow, Mom and Dad and sister are about to go on stage. Sitting next to the child was Anna, the head maid of the Silver Dragon clan. She smiled at the child and said, That's right, Your Highness, today. Weiser and Leon will both hold Noah's hand as she steps onto the stage. He forced a smile, thinking, How did it turn out like this? Recalling about an hour earlier, the principal happily announced to the two, Noah achieved the highest score in the entrance exam. The couple's test results were also the best. Please have the new student representative and the family representative come up to share their thoughts. But he had no choice but to comply. The situation happened too suddenly, so he just had to bite the bullet and go along with it. Wiser and Noah all kept very serious faces as they prepared to speak. The principal began, "Noah, you are the youngest candidate but achieved the highest score. Do you have anything you want to share with everyone?" Noah calmly spoke before the crowd. "My mother is a very formidable dragon. When I grow up, I want to be strong like my mother. When I mentioned going to school, she supported me." Beside Wiser, he kept proudly looking at his daughter. "And also my little sister Men. She is always by my side. I am very grateful to them." Men below widened her sparkling eyes, admiring her older sister. Leon glanced at Noah, unable to hide his hope. "What about Dad? Did you mention Dad?" The girl took a deep breath to prepare to continue. Then Noah sincerely thanked him. "Finally, the person I want to thank the most is my father. Every day he helps me prepare for exams, often staying up late to prepare materials. Thanks to him, I am standing here." Hearing his daughter say this, Leon was moved to tears and called her name. "That's mine, Noah, thank you." Then Noah politely bowed to everyone. Below, the principal smiled approvingly. "It seems Mr. Leon is very good at teaching his child. If that's the case, your daughter has thanked you already. You should kiss her to show a father's love, right?" Leon's face went pale and confused as he turned to Vaughn Wilson, thinking, "Principal, what are you saying? You don't want the opening ceremony to turn into a crime scene for a murdered father, do you?" Then he looked at Noah, thinking to himself that a month ago she wouldn't even let him touch her. So how could he kiss her in front of so many people now? Then Leon spread his arms wide and told Noah she didn't have to make it so difficult. "We can just hug, right?" Noah's face flushed with embarrassment. She turned her face away and hesitated quickly, saying, "Hurry up and kiss me to end this embarrassing ceremony." Hearing this, Leon hesitated for a moment. Then he called Noah's name and gently kissed her forehead to show a father's love for his daughter. Men below watching this scene couldn't help but feel a little jealous. She wanted to run up and kiss her sister. She also wanted to go up and kiss her. But the female attendant beside her stopped her. "Your Highness, men, you can't go up now. Please wait on the other side." Wiser sighed in relief, thinking thankfully it's not me. After the kiss, Leon smiled at Noah. Meanwhile, Noah's face was as red as a tomato from embarrassment. The principal continued speaking to the families below. "The elite Long clan will never forget to appreciate their own family. The harmony of the Melk family lets us feel what a real family is like." He didn't know if it was intentional or not, but he continued, "Their daughter has already kissed, so they are a loving couple. Why did you forget to kiss your wife, Mr. Leon?" As soon as he finished speaking, both Leon and Wiser gaped in shock. Both exclaimed, "Huh!" Both were so angry their whole bodies trembled. Leon gritted his teeth, clenching his fists, thinking, "This old dragon really pushed my buttons. I have to get rid of him right away. On the exam day, I should worry about Noah, but this is her most important opening ceremony. I've been through hundreds of battles. I can't be scared by something like this." Then he turned and invited his beloved wife. "We are the happiest, most harmonious family, aren't we?" This made Cho White blush and stammer shyly, What is this?" Wiser continued quietly, "Do you really want to kiss me in front of hundreds of dragons?" He confidently replied, "No choice, Noah and men are watching, cooperate with me." She hesitated, saying, "This isn't really appropriate." Below, Men was still eagerly watching the performance of the two on stage. Actions speak louder than words. Leon hugged her, pressing his face close to hers, which made her embarrassed and shy, silently thinking that, although they had gone to bed and held hands, they had never kissed except for that one time 2 years ago. Yet he seemed so calm, as if she was the only one nervous. I don't care anymore." Wiser didn't want to think about it and just gently closed her eyes, waiting for that kiss. Right after that, Leon tilted and gave her a loud kiss on the cheek. That caught her by surprise, and looking at him, she felt a little disappointed as she reached up to rub the right side of her cheek where he had kissed her. Ladies and gentlemen, Leon now placed one hand on his chest and the other behind his back, bowing to everyone below. "That's as much as I can do, ladies and gentlemen." The crowd below shouted, "Why not kiss on the lips? Kiss again, kiss again." He turned to her with a smug look and whispered, Comfortable pressure's off now." After learning his true intention, Wiser was so angry she was trembling all over. She gritted her teeth, cursing that brat in her mind for daring to use her to relieve his stress. If there weren't so many people around, she would have pinned him to the ground right then. Then the principal gave closing remarks, thanking the model families who brought us applause and laughter this year. Please proceed downstairs to rest. Next time flew by quickly. Yes, finally the ceremony ended. Weiser waved goodbye to Noah before her first day of school. All right, we're getting ready to go now. Come pick me up next week and take care of yourself. Noah waved back at her mother. Yes, I know, Mom. Uh-huh. Men seemed reluctant to leave his sister. The little boy ran over, hugged her, and said regretfully, Sis, you have to remember me, okay? Noah calmly replied, I will remember you. Leon bent down to remind Noah Young. Man, remember to eat on time, don't skip meals. If you don't understand your lessons, wait until the break. Or at home, you can ask Dad. Oh, and the most important thing, if you get sick, you must go to school to see the principal. Don't push yourself. After hearing his dad ramble on, Noah helplessly said, I know I'm not a kid. He glanced at Weiser, pointed at her, and said, These words come from your mother when she's drunk. It's not appropriate for her to say to you, so Dad's just helping her out. Weiser stood behind him, arms crossed, nagging. He rolled up his sleeves and lectured his daughter. If you meet classmates you don't get along with, stay away from them. But if they dare to bully you, just call me and I'll handle it for you. Noah smiled and asked Dad, when you were in school, did you do things like this? Leon winked proudly. Of course, but every time I got into a fight at school, my uncle, or rather my grandpa, would take me home and give me a good beating. He stood up, hands on hips, continuing, but don't worry, your dad won't hit you over stuff like this. Men also ran over excitedly to hug his dad's legs. Noah clenched his fist firmly and said with determination, I know. Inside the Silver Dragon Cathedral's Queen's Library were many precious books illuminated by the light from a lamp in the room. Weiser focused on the page, reading carefully. The blood curse can only be used once in a lifetime with forbidden magic using blood as the medium. The caster would pay with their life. But thinking of something, she put her hand on her chin, smiled slightly, and thought that with some improvements, it might become a pretty good trick. Suddenly a shadow appeared. I know who it is. Rose. Weiser spoke up, Your Majesty. A young woman landed dressed in a maid's outfit with purple hair and amber eyes. That was Sally, a trusted Silver Dragon servant. So Weiser asked, how's the investigation going? Sally bowed apologetically. Sorry we couldn't find Tiger Lauren and his wife in the Empire. They're missing. Hearing that, Weiser's heart stirred. Missing, Sally continued. The information was thoroughly erased. Our subordinates couldn't track their whereabouts. We're aware of the situation. Rose Weiser deduced, according to Leon, his uncle was just an ordinary old farmer. But now it seems not so simple. Becoming serious, Weiser ordered her subordinates to ensure safety and continue the investigation. Report to me immediately if you get any news. Yes, Your Majesty, Sally replied. Outside, evening was falling. Halion swung a wooden stick, showing off his powerful magic. Yes, he turned to men. Come on, do it like Dad. Grab the stick and slam it down hard. The boy eagerly replied, Yes, I got it. That enthusiasm is useless. Men swung the stick in all directions like swatting flies, making Leon helplessly watch the clown in front of him. Oh, right, adjusting the baby's posture. From behind Rose Weiser appeared. She and Anna approached men. Seeing Weiser, men was delighted. Oh, it's Mom. Seeing his wife return, he turned to check in. Oh, Father's back this week, huh? She shrugged calmly. Yeah. Holding men. Did you listen to Dad at home today? Men nodded in reply. Yes, men listened very well. Dad also taught men how to hold a sword properly. Seeing his daughter so obedient, she was naturally very pleased. Not bad. Dinner time is almost here, Mom said to the chef, to prepare beef. Go change your clothes first. Hearing food mentioned men was instantly bribed, her eyes sparkling like stars, excitedly saying, Beef men likes it a lot. Anna took the child's hand and led her away. Our prince men, let's go. Men walked and skipped while singing, Beef, beef. As the daughter gradually disappeared from sight, Weiser turned to Leon. Before he could speak, she pointed a sharp, dry branch at him, smirking challengingly. Rose Weiser sneered, So you finally decided to take me down. In the Silver Dragon's temple, pointing a weapon at me is rebellious and punishable, right? Leon was no less sharp. Burn the coffin, then. This is just a piece of wood, Queen. Do you really see a piece of wood as a weapon? Of course, Weiser didn't back down. Weren't you once the strongest dragon disciple? Seriously, that piece of wood in your hand could become a deadly weapon. As expected, Leon sighed. All right, I admit defeat. He stepped closer teasingly. Damn, dragon girl, if you want to praise me, do it properly. Why the sarcasm? She sulked, moving away. No one wants to praise you, then turned her head, rubbing the back of her neck. Leon sighed and tried to scare her a bit, but if she wasn't afraid, it wouldn't be fun anymore. Weiser said, I didn't think with your current strength you could hurt me with just that little stick. During the quiet moment, she continued, yesterday Noah wrote me a letter. She said she's doing well these days, told us not to worry. Sitting on the bench, he turned to ask, is that all? That's it. She wagged her tail in reply. That's it. It's already hard enough that she took the initiative to write and report she's safe. Hearing that Leon didn't object, nodding in agreement, that's quite like her. They both watched the sunset. He sadly confided a little, his face always tense, making it hard to guess what he was thinking. But with the right approach, living together was very pleasant. Seeing this, Weiser explained further. Actually, Noah quite idolizes you. She has typical Dragon Clan psychology, craving to be strong, always looking up to the powerful. On Monday, Weiser covered her mouth, trying not to laugh at his surprised expression, continuing, now in her eyes, you're a top student. So when she talks about the academy, she boasts a lot about being number one, but absolutely doesn't want to lose to anyone. Recalling Noah calling herself clueless, Leon smiled wryly. I thought in her heart I was just a weak, clueless chicken. Taking off his shoes to get comfortable, he asked, when you just woke up, Noah always hid from you, right? But actually, when you were still unconscious, she often came to check on you. Sometimes when I caught her, she'd make up an excuse that she was looking for men. Just hearing that, Leon burst out laughing. In stubbornness, she's very much like you. Looking ahead, Rose Weiser pondered deeply. When they cried as kids, no one could soothe them, but just placing them next to each other would immediately calm them down. Maybe before they had awareness of blood ties, it already pulled them close. The image of Leon Cassius lying with Noah and men as newborns flashed through her memory. He looked down at his hand, muttering, blood ties, why does it feel strange? Childhood memories flooded back. Leon monologued, I was an orphan, never experienced parental love, didn't understand what family meant. When I was 5, uncle and aunt adopted me, no blood relation, but treated me like their own child. In his mind appeared an image of him standing with a middle-aged couple. At that moment, Leon's heart was always empty. Seeing other families happy, watching children call mom and dad from afar, he never forgot that moment, the first time he understood the concept of family, but still sometimes felt loss. At that time, 5-year-old Leon wished that if uncle and aunt were really his parents, how wonderful that would be. The aunt patted Leon's head and advised him, one day you will become someone else's father. He repeated his aunt's words in confusion. Father, yes, they are family. You want to love and protect them with all your heart. At that moment, Joe Swisher, Noah, and men were standing at the edge of the sunset. Perhaps Leon Cassius's soul had matured a bit. He clenched his fists, resolute. They were the family he now cherished the most. He was dazed. What is it? Let's go. Weiser's voice pulled Leon out of his confused thoughts as he stood up. He spoke incoherently, like a fool. Nothing, thank you for telling me these things. Let's go then. But she wouldn't budge. Rose Weiser crossed and pushed her high heels, suggestively watching her partner's silly antics. Leon raised an eyebrow. Something about that, huh? She smirked and proposed, if you want to thank me, then help me put on my shoes. Leon was stunned. What, I didn't catch that. Weiser sat proudly on the chair and repeated, if you want to thank me, then help me put on my shoes. But Leon strongly objected. Help you put on your shoes. Sure, no hesitation. Leon pointed his index finger straight at her face and complained, helping you wash your feet last time was humiliating enough. Now you want me to put on your shoes. Do I have no shame left? Hearing his refusal, Weiser didn't hesitate to give him a 5-toed kick right to the face, saying, I haven't even settled the score for the kiss at the enrollment ceremony. Now you won't even help me put on my shoes. She wagged her tail, advising him to stop wasting words and just do it quickly so they could go home. With no other choice, Leon reluctantly lifted Weiser's feet and slowly put the shoes on her. All right, I'll put them on. Watching Leon's movements, she was satisfied and said that although he said he wasn't willing, his actions were quite skillful. Leon mocked, putting shoes on you is just like nailing shoes onto a donkey's feet. That comment successfully angered Weiser. She raised her long, slender legs to give him a few kicks, but Leon quickly dodged. He ran while turning his head to tease her, if I run fast enough, you won't be able to hit me. Weiser was annoyed and thought to herself, what good is running fast? Tonight I'll make you pay. Before long, several days passed. The 3 family members, Leon, Weiser, and Men, stood looking up at the sky as if waiting for something. Suddenly, Men shouted, it's coming, it's coming! At that moment, a huge dragon appeared in the sky, spreading its wings towards them. The dragon they saw was the great dragon Leviathan. Leon was amazed and said to Weiser, "Oh, this dragon is much bigger than your transformed appearance." Under Leon's admiring gaze toward the Leviathan, Weiser calmly explained, "The Leviathan is large in size, but not very strong in combat because of its excellent endurance and emotional stability, so it usually serves as a transport dragon in the Long tribe." Hearing this, Leon wondered emotional stability. She replied, "It's said that a Leviathan lives for thousands of years from birth to death without ever getting angry even once. That's why the Academy uses them to transport baby dragons." As she spoke, a mystical blue light shone down from the great dragon onto them. Within that light appeared the small figure of Noah. As soon as Noah returned, she saw Weiser and said, "I've respectfully returned, Mother." Weiser happily replied, "Welcome back." Even Men was very happy to see her sister return. The little girl excitedly hugged Noah. "Sister, I missed you so much." Although Noah seemed cold, her small face couldn't hide the joy inside. When she saw Leon, Noah shyly stammered, "Dad?" Maybe the little girl wasn't used to it yet. Leon didn't force her, but thought to himself, "This kid still hasn't learned to call me Dad." The family of four was now reunited. They happily held hands and entered the city gate. Leon affectionately said, "It's good to be home," then confidently bragged to Noah that her dad and mom had made lots of food she liked. After the meal, they went to Weiser's office. On her desk were many test papers spread out. She looked over the tests, perfect scores in basic mechanical metallurgy, full marks in the introductory magic theory for young dragons, and top scores in long tribe history for young dragons. Noah proudly looked at the stack of test papers. Next to her was Men admiring her sister with wide eyes. However, among the tests, there was one subject with a disappointing score. Holding the paper in his hand, Noah felt like he had disappointed his parents. The little girl said sadly, "There's still one final test, the comprehensive physical fitness test, where I only got 95 points, so I didn't get first place. Sorry." But Weiser didn't blame her. Instead, she waved her hand and praised, "No need to apologize, you did very well." Men hugged Noah's arm in agreement with her mom. His eyes sparkled as he looked at Noah resolutely and said, "Mom's right. In Men's heart, you're the best." Watching the two of them, Leon didn't know what to do. One of them doesn't know how to express emotions, and the other expresses them a little too much. Looks like I, the real dad, have to step in and think this through. He took the 95-point test paper in his hand and examined it for a moment. Treadmill weightlifting pull-ups. These are basic physical training exercises. Compared to other 4-year-old dragons in your grade, having slightly weaker stamina is pretty normal. Then he looked at Noah and pointed out one thing. "But look here, in the real combat training section, you fought 10 matches with 9 wins, which is the highest win rate in the class. This shows that although your stamina isn't as good as the other kids, your tactics and combat skills have far surpassed them." Finally, Leon affirmed, "So you don't need to worry too much about placing third. You'll have opportunities to surpass them in the future." Hearing this, Noah frowned. Her small lips trembled as she replied, "I heard Mom say that when Dad was in school, he was always first." Hearing this, Leon gently said, "Actually, when I first started school, I wasn't first either. It was only later through effort and perseverance that I climbed to the top spot." As someone with experience, Leon understood his daughter's worries. He added, "You still have plenty of time. Don't be discouraged by one mistake. Dad believes you can do it." Noah was indeed both talented and sensible. Leon's words gave her more confidence, I know. However, after hearing about Leon Mon's top academic achievements when he was in school, he couldn't help but wonder, Dad is so amazing. So who would win in a fight between you and Mom? When it comes to competitiveness, this couple was truly alike. They both shouted loudly together, Dad would win, Mom would win, then looked at each other with expressions of dissatisfaction. Both of them exclaimed in unison, "Huh?" Then Leon started pounding his chest, bragging about his training prowess from back then. "Whether it's hand-to-hand wrestling or magical weapon combat, no one could match me. Of course I was more powerful." On the other side, Weiser refused to back down. She retorted, "Although I didn't win as many titles as you, I only won the crucial battles." The two ground their teeth, electric sparks flashing in their eyes as they stared each other down. Weiser said, "Before that year, you couldn't beat me. When we first married, I took you prisoner." "What?" Leon protested. "Clearly you couldn't beat me in the dungeon, and then we had 2 adorable daughters, Men and Noah." "What?" Without more words, Leon said, "Let's go. I've wanted to fight you for a long time. Wiser didn't hesitate and replied, what? How about we have a little match, saying that the two turned their backs and ran outside, leaving their two adorable little daughters behind. Although they said that being the children of such a competitive couple, it wasn't easy to miss the chance to watch the fight, so the two little ones scampered after their parents. Noah held her little sister's hand as they followed. Men's bright eyes said, they're about to fight. What? The space was silent, filled with the sharp smell of gunpowder. Leon and Wiser were both warming up their limbs. Noah and Men were on the side enjoying popcorn while watching the exciting show. Men excitedly asked Noah, I'm really curious who's stronger, Dad or Mom, right? However, Noah's purpose for watching the match was different from Men's. She said the teacher said watching many matches of masters will also help us improve our combat skills. Back to the fight. Wiser pretended to ask Leon, you still haven't fully recovered to the level where you can fight the Dragon King, have you? Yes. Leon was warming up and replied, so how could he miss the rare chance to fight the Dragon Queen? Hearing Leon say that, Wiser suggested, why don't we bet on something? Leon asked what she wanted to bet. Wiser smiled and said, if he won, she wouldn't touch him for a month. If she won, he would have to fulfill all her requests. Leon frowned, thinking, though he didn't know what perverted demands this dragoness would make, as long as he won, he could rest freely for a whole month. He felt triumphant inside, so happy he wanted to cry. This is something he wouldn't even dare to think about on a normal day. No turning back now, Leon replied to Wiser. All right, I accept this bet. Having achieved his goal, Wiser didn't hesitate either, so let's get started. On the battlefield, dust swirled thick with the smell of gunpowder. Leon and Wiser stared at each other seriously, clearly both tense. Little Men was so excited her legs kept shaking. She accidentally bumped into the nearby glass of juice, spilling it. Men startled and cried out just as the signal sounded. At that moment, Leon and Wiser entered battle mode. The moment the drops of juice hit the ground was like a signal announcing the start of the fight. The two figures charged at each other, while Men cried hoo-hoo and Noah reminded her it started. Leon nimbly jumped up, swinging a full-force punch backward toward Wiser, but the dragon's quick reflexes allowed her to block it quickly while her flexible tail struck from behind. Luckily for Leon, he dodged Wiser's sneaky attack just in time. It was clear his skills weren't mediocre, but the tail's long range made him flip backward. With one hand touching the ground, Leon quickly entered attack mode, bracing with one hand as he prepared a kick for Wiser. She wasn't backing down either, raising her hand to block, but the powerful strike forced her to step back several paces. After taking Leon's hit, Wiser grew more cautious, realizing her weakness. She thought to herself, I can't win in a strength contest, better keep my distance. Seeing Wiser retreat and charging mana into both fists, Leon immediately understood her plan. He confidently said, it seems Her Majesty the Queen doesn't want to fight me up close. But she didn't care about close combat or long range. She replied with a hum, as long as I can beat you, that's enough. Without hesitation, Wiser launched mana spheres at Leon at lightning speed. This move is called Dragon Flame. Against these powerful Dragon Flame spheres, if you don't dodge, you'll be reduced to ashes. Leon could only run quickly. Meanwhile, outside, our two young spectators started commenting. Men anxiously asked if Dad was about to lose since he's been running nonstop. Noah calmly analyzed Dad probably isn't using pure physical skills to attack and dodge Mom's moves, while Mom uses Dragon Flame to lure and look for surprise attacks. Noah bit into a popcorn, cheeks puffed, as she added insightfully, this shows Mom isn't confident she can win Dad in close combat. Hearing her analysis, Men tilted her head and pressed her cheeks against Noah's, praising you know so much. Noah, cold outside but warm inside, blushed and humbly said the teacher explained it like that in class. I wonder who Noah's personality is like. Back to the fight, like the legendary battle of Son Tin and Tui Tin, wherever Leon dodged, Wiser's Dragon Flame followed. She excitedly asked Leon, are you really that fast? Then try dodging for me to see. Leon replied while running, yeah, I'm not only fast but also tough. Hearing this, Wiser clasped her hands ready to unleash a stronger move, asking how about this one? Suddenly a noise behind made him alert. A cloud of dust rose quickly, accompanied by two streams of mana rushing in unexpectedly. Boom! A huge explosion erupted, the smoke and purple glow of dragon flame shook the ground, cracking it. The scale of the explosion was clearly massive. After the blast, the space suddenly went silent. As the smoke cleared, Leon's figure appeared with blue lightning sparks. He confidently said, too slow, Rose Wiser. Seeing Leon's figure, observing for a moment, she immediately realized this kid was using lightning magic to boost his body. Leon was preparing to charge at her. He said, "No one can take away my 1 month of rest." As soon as he finished speaking, it was like a signal. Leon darted forward like a falcon, standing before Wiser, throwing dozens of rapid punches at her. The punches were fast and packed with internal strength, making it hard for Wiser to block all of them, despite trying. She took the hits while thinking of ways to counter his mana. He still hasn't fully recovered, but dares to use lightning magic to enhance his body to this level. That's just too reckless. We need to end this battle quickly. Wiser's prolonged hesitation was noticed by Leon as a weakness. No longer using his fists, he quickly kicked toward her leg, trying to knock her down. Immediately, Wiser began to lose balance, letting out a grunt. Within a second, Leon swiftly closed the distance in front of Wiser. He raised his fist, enhanced by lightning magic, as if certain of victory. He said, "I've won." At this moment, Wiser was almost touching the ground, her arms dangling in the air, searching for support. Suddenly, the lightning-enhanced hand shot toward Wiser like lightning, then stopped immediately. Leon quickly changed target, grabbed her arm, and pulled. The tense scene suddenly turned romantic. Leon's hand was resting on Wiser's waist, face-to-face, chest-to-chest. It seemed like their lips were just a breath away. Suddenly closing in, Wiser was caught off guard, blushing, as she called his name. Leon thought a romantic scene was about to happen, but no, we were tricked. Wiser placed her hand on Leon's chest and shouted "Dragon Flame," leaving Leon no time to react. Seeing his shirt burning, unlike his previous calm, Leon jumped up shouting, "Ah, ah, 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 it's burning." But then he noticed something. Looking at the scorched part of his shirt, he wasn't burned at all. Leon wondered, why doesn't it feel hot? Wiser behind him reminded, "The battle isn't over yet. How can you get distracted like that?" At that moment, Leon turned his face away, or else he would have seen her rosy cheeks. From afar, two little girls ran up asking Mom who won in the end. Having been hit by Wiser's move, Leon admitted that ultimately mistakes happen. This time Dad lost. Although Wiser won, she was not arrogant. "I have to admit, you are really strong. Without magic armor or a handy weapon, just relying on physical strength to fight me like that. No one before you has done that." Leon confidently replied, "Yeah, isn't that right? If I fought at full strength, I could definitely beat you." Hearing that, she smiled and said, "Oh, since you've admitted defeat, don't forget about our bet." Hearing Wiser mention the bet, Leon was so angry he spat blood. "I totally forgot about the bet." After spitting blood, Leon collapsed on the ground like a lifeless soul. The two kids sat beside their old man, and Men asked Mom why is Dad dead already. But Wiser was very relaxed looking at Leon. She said, "It's okay, he just overexerted his strength beyond his stamina. He'll recover soon." That night at the castle, there was a silver dragon sanctuary room for the two children. Leon reminded Noah, "After Dad leaves, you have to take care of Men. She's still little and doesn't understand much. You're the older sister, you have to guide her a lot. Men, you have to listen to your sister, don't make her angry, and be good at home." Men listened carefully while Noah crossed her arms and pouted. Dad Leon really expressed his feelings. Ada left this time. Dad wasn't at ease, the two sisters, both just 1-year-old children. "How could your mother be so heartless to take Dad away like that?" Noah helplessly said, "Dad only slept in Mom's room for one night. Why does it feel like he was taken to execution?" He nervously explained, "In a way, execution by beheading happens in a flash. But Mom Fan can torment someone all night. That's much scarier than execution." Men innocently said, "Yes, I know Mom wants to eat Dad, right?" Men also explained, "I read in a book, after praying mantises mate, the female eats the male." He crossed his arms and replied, "Although that's not exactly right, Dad is about to be eaten by Mom." Men, why are you still so cheerful? Rose Wiser stood at the door and said, "All right, stop saying nonsense to my son like I'm so scary." Then she went inside smiling as she tucked the two kids in. "Go to sleep early. Don't worry, Mom just wants to discuss some interesting things with Dad tonight." That startled him. Dad Leon said interesting things. She replied like how the universe was born. He questioned the origin of life. She casually said, "The mysteries of the world." Leon asked, "The mysteries of the body, right?" "Yes." Rose Wiser immediately pulled him away without answering further, simply saying goodbye. "Enough talking, come with me quickly." Leon was pulled away and shouted, "Wait, I still have a last wish to say, Noah. Men, remember Dad will always love you." In the children's room, Men innocently asked, "What exactly do Mom and Dad want to do?" Noah closed his eyes and answered, "I don't know, just ignore them, childish adults." Turning back, he and Julie were both prepared in the Silver Dragon Chapel, the Queen's bedroom. She crossed her legs and asked, "Aren't you going to drink?" He folded his arms and replied, "No." Roseweiser silently looked at him puzzled and asked, "Why? I remember you agreed that after losing you'd fulfill my request, and now you won't even drink." Leon clicked his tongue and explained, I just don't feel like drinking right now." He thought to himself, "I have to keep my wits about me. Tonight I absolutely won't be led by her." She set the glass on the table and said, "Actually, I really hope you win." He was surprised and asked, "Why?" Roseweiser thoughtfully explained, "If you win, I'll give you a month off. You can take care of yourself during that time. Maybe you'll have more fun." He folded his arms, unimpressed. "So wouldn't it be better if you just admitted defeat today?" She grabbed the glass and said, "No, I've thought of something more fun." She poured the wine over herself, and Roseweiser said with delight, "Me, I love seeing you lose, but still refuse to admit it like this." He panicked when she sat on top of him. What are you doing?" She said with a seductive look, "Drink it all, Leon." Leon looked thoughtfully at the wine on her body, the scent of Roseweiser mixing with the aroma of red wine. This scene really made him purse his lips, thinking it was incredibly irresistible. Leon buried his face in her chest, which pleased her. She blushed and made sensitive sounds. Then he looked up at her. "Is this enough now?" She smiled and said, "Of course it's not enough." Roseweiser ordered him to open his mouth, biting her lip until it bled. She spat blood into his mouth. He blinked in surprise at the blood, then hurriedly pushed her away, shouting, What are you doing?" He moved away from her, feeling like she had used a forbidden spell on him. She licked her lips and changed her expression. "Yes, it's the blood curse. You're very familiar with it, right?" His eyes turned red. Leon clutched his chest, trembling. Why?" She looked at him thoughtfully. "Since you used this forbidden spell on me 2 years ago, I've been nostalgic for that feeling." He gasped and asked, "Do you know the price you have to pay for this spell?" She calmly replied, "Of course I do. I've slightly modified the technique to reduce the blood curse's toll on the dragon clan's body to the minimum. It only keeps the charm effect." Leon gradually lost his reason, turning his head back and forth continuously, his body burning hot and his mind blank. She touched the side of the chest he was holding. "Until now, I've always forced you, threatened you, always acting unwilling," she whispered in his ear. "But now I want you to soothe me like a mad dog, begging me to be intimate with you." Then he knelt down and she said delightedly, The game is about to start, my delicious prisoner, Mr. Leon Cassius." Weiser stood proud, hands on hips, speaking to him, the brave and upright dragon servant. You're about to lose control, aren't you? Do you know how ridiculous you look right now?" Leon answered quietly, and as he spoke, Roseweiser pulled out a purple magic mirror. Roseweiser smiled triumphantly. "I bought this in Heavenly City '01. It's a magic prop that can temporarily record images." He looked at his reflection in the mirror. Weiser said, "Leon, face it and tell me." "Leon, what do you want to do now?" Leon answered, Kiss. I want to kiss her." Suddenly startled, his inner voice shouted, "No, this isn't right." Roseweiser asked again. What did you say?" "Say it louder." Leon blurted, "I can't control it. I want to kiss you." Roseweiser but inwardly panicked. "I clearly didn't want to say that." Roseweiser stroked Leon's cheek, praising, "Leon, look at how pathetic you look now. Yet you throw away your limits and miserably beg for a kiss from your enemy." Then she pushed his face aside, mocking, "And I won't let you kiss me." Leon was stunned and speechless. Then suddenly he shouted, "No," Roseweiser. Leon suddenly pinned Weiser down on the bed, but Roseweiser kept provoking him. "You're in such a rush. That's not like you at all." Leon kissed Roseweiser's hand and whispered sweetly, "Roseweiser, I want to kiss you, want to hold you." He spoke boldly, "I want to become one with you." This situation surprised Weiser, and she thought to herself, so this is what my proactive self looked like when hit by the blood curse back then. She silently smiled with satisfaction. Leon, you finally have your day." Suddenly, she reached out and hugged Leon, then said, "All right, this is because you begged me, little dog Leon. Show me how you look after being corrupted." Then the two of them made love sweetly until the next day. On the bed, a head of platinum hair spread out. Leon woke up before him and exclaimed, You. Silently scolding himself, "Last night I fell again." He sat up mumbling, It's because the blood curse made me lose all the pride and dignity of a dragon slayer." Constantly begging her to make love with me. he said while grinding his teeth, another insult breaking the limit. Seeing Weiser sleeping soundly, he silently cursed her. The mastermind of evil, you play around and then sleep so peacefully. Then Leon couldn't help but stroke her cheek, quietly praising her completely unguarded expression. He suddenly startled, his mind flustered, shouting, "What am I doing? Why am I touching her face unconsciously like this?" He embarrassedly blamed himself. "Why do I want to touch her face? Just now, I only wanted to wake her up. Absolutely no other intentions." Then Leon looked at her once more, wondering why she didn't react at all. Could she be pretending to sleep? "What?" Leon called Weiser. "Hey, stop pretending to sleep." He tapped her face to wake her. "Come on, aren't you usually very disciplined?" Leon crossed his arms, puzzled. "Why aren't you awake yet? Could it be because of the influence of the blood curse?" He muttered to himself. The degree of the blood curse's effect depends on the practitioner's stamina. When I was about to die, I cast the blood curse. Though I don't know how I came back to life, it was enough to keep me in a coma for 2 years. Rose Weiser is a strong dragon king. I guess she'll be in a coma for about a week. Leon pondered, His expression was cunning. He silently thought, isn't now the perfect chance for me to escape? While opening a drawer, he thought, 1 week based on normal human stamina isn't far to run, but if I wear the black armored war chariot, it's different. He smiled smugly, combining restorative elixirs and pills. As long as I push myself fully, I can run enough to return to the human territory. He confidently told Weiser, when she wakes up and finds I'm gone, it'll already be too late. Ha, he threw back his head, laughing loudly, but then the laughter grew quieter until finally he was helpless and dejected. He put the water elixir back in the cabinet, thinking, come to think of it, I left the Empire 2 years ago. I wonder what's happening there now. He hesitated, still had many questions about when I was captured. Back then, rushing back might be risky, better to be cautious. He rubbed his chin and said to himself, besides, I asked Joe Schweizer to investigate the recent status of the Lord. Maybe I should wait a bit longer for their news. He smiled slightly. Most importantly, the kids are chasing butterflies in the yard. Quickly catch them. Noah warned, slow down, be careful not to fall. Seeing the 2 girls playing happily, he was quietly glad. Now I have no way to abandon them. Leon smiled with eyes squinting. Indeed, I realize I still have to stay at the Silver Dragon Cathedral. He looked at Joe Schweizer, sleeping soundly, muttering thoughtfully. After all, Leon burst out laughing. Listen, I haven't taken revenge on you yet, isn't that right? He softly called her name, Rose Weiser. Rose Weiser lay silently on her familiar bed. May worriedly looked at her beside the bed. Mom, are you okay? You've been asleep for a day. Naomi Kelby seriously turned to ask him what happened yesterday. Leon came and scratched his head and forced a smile. This will make her look at me even longer. When I explained yesterday we chatted on the balcony, maybe she caught a cold breeze and that's why she's feeling unwell. Leon quickly brought the nearby servant into the conversation. It's nothing serious, right, Anna? The girl replied, Your Highness, rest assured the cathedral's healer has just checked His Majesty's body. Apart from some weakness, everything else is normal. Anna also suggested, I will temporarily handle the clan affairs these days in His Majesty's absence. If Your Highness has no further issues, then I will take my leave first. He agreed with her. Oh, all right, you may go. The little one innocently lightly touched Rose's hair. Mom, get well soon. Men won't make you angry anymore. Leon came and rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Why is she sweating so much? I'll help her wipe down later. His thought was immediately suspicious. Is Dad trying to take advantage of Mom's coma to do something? He leaned close to the little girl and explained, Noah, you're overthinking. Right now, Dad just wants to take good care of Mom. The girl raised her cold eyes to look at him. Is that so? That's good, she said, then didn't stay long and directly left to go home. Meon, tomorrow we will visit Mom again. Meon reluctantly didn't want to leave. Mom Meon will come visit you tomorrow. The youngest girl waved goodbye to him before closing the door. Good night, Dad. Leon smiled and replied, good night. After only the 2 of them were left in the room, he carefully looked at Rose again. Next, she kept sweating, her face slightly furrowing in discomfort. Let me get a basin of water. His hands quickly wrung out some water from the towel. He brought the towel up to her body and whispered, I'm wiping you down because I'm afraid you'll catch a cold later. Don't misunderstand when you wake up. While doing this, he noticed some strange things. Usually she would reveal her large tail, but now her body was so weak that even her tail was hidden. For now, Roseweiser was cleaned up by him, so he muttered again, "After wiping her down, it might be better to change her clothes, right?" Leon Raymond directly flung open the wardrobe door. "There are so many clothes here. Changing into whatever I like shouldn't be a problem, right?" He rummaged through her wardrobe, which contained countless clothes with various styles: off-shoulder, low-cut bows, black stockings. Leon paused and thought, "I need to use these outfits to replace the ones she needs. But the key problem is how to handle the ears." He gently touched her white hair and braided it. Maybe he could use her hair to create a masterpiece, which made Leon Raymond blush with delight. Then Rose was dressed in a very mysterious outfit, the limited edition costume of the female rabbit wolf Roseweiser. Looking closely, it matched his taste perfectly, making Leon's heart pound wildly. He didn't expect it would suit her so well. And the seal on his chest instantly lit up brightly. Leon panicked and pulled his shirt open. Why is Longvan suddenly glowing right now? Then he recalled the words his wife had said: "Before you two have the Longvan seal, if either of you think about having a relationship with the other, Longvan will react." Leon Raymond blushed embarrassedly and hurriedly dismissed the thought. "Go away, go away. When I'm sober, how could I think about that with Roseweiser? It must be because of the limited rabbit outfit." Then the young man seriously clasped his hands and recited to calm himself, "Still should chant 10x3, vin 3 si do long dia to regain calm." Proudly loyal to the Empire, ashamed to collude with the Dragon Clan. Proud on the bloody battlefield, ashamed when fleeing to the battle. Proud of the Dragon Clan, embarrassed when surrendering to the enemy and betraying oneself. Longvan gradually faded away. According to his feelings, a big problem almost happened, but it was difficult. Dressing Roseweiser like this, without recording it, would be too regrettable. The innocent girl was still sound asleep, unaware that she was wearing strange clothes again. Leon tried to recall and realized something. "I remember Roseweiser had a camera at home, right, Bay?" He immediately went to the box in the room and quickly rummaged through it. He found a small camera. Leon Zeppelin didn't hesitate and turned it in every direction to take photos of Rose. "She has her day too, Roseweiser." He even gently squeezed her cheek to coax a slight smile on her face. "Come on, wife, smile." He was very proud. "I will definitely help you preserve these dark historical photos properly." At that moment, Roseweiser suddenly moaned. This startled Leon terribly. Waking up so quickly, luckily she then lay still without any movement. The young man breathed a sigh of relief. "You scared me." Their room was the only one still lit in the dark night. Better to change back into normal pajamas. Tomorrow, continue with the next step of the revenge plan. The sky gradually brightened as the new day arrived. Early the next day, Macian hurried over Sis. Noah Melkvi folded her arms and asked her what happened. "Speak slowly." Mian held a Rubik's Cube and exclaimed, "My Rubik's Cube is broken, so I want to find Dad to fix it." The result was that after searching everywhere, they couldn't find Dad anywhere. Noah's face darkened. Could it be that he ran away while Mom was unconscious? The older sister quickly grabbed Mian's hand and led her away. "Don't worry, I'll go with you to find Dad." Mian obeyed and shouted out as if calling, "Leon, Dad, where are you?"